Six-pack Lapadat. We got the king. Perk, you're back, and I just asked you how you're feeling, and you said as good as you've been after a competition. Is this probably because you only had to take 7 attempts and was in cruise control?
Yeah, I think that was it, honestly. I thought that 700 was going to feel a lot harder on the body, honestly. I thought it was going to feel like the first time that I squatted 300, and it wasn't like that at all. It was a lot easier. So, and then just the back half of the day, 2 benches and 2 deadlifts, it was just fine. Like I could walk around after. I was enjoying the meet. I came back the next day and I watched the 83s and 93s. So usually I'm like in bed and don't want to do anything, but I was walking around moving and I'm like jumping right back into training. So I'm feeling good.
What was the goal coming into this? Because you finished off with, well, first off, you're the first to squat 700 pounds as a 74, which is freaking crazy. Dude,
It's wild.
it was a couple years ago. We were waiting for an 83 to do it. And
Mhm.
now a couple years later, you're doing it. And also a couple years ago, 838.5 made out with the king. And a
Mhm.
couple years later, 839 is you in cruise control. It's you with 7 attempts. And not that you missed eighth and ninth, you just didn't even have to take them.
Yeah.
Like, was that always the goal? Was 839 important to you?
Yeah, so the story behind that was I was home one day, my fiance was at work, and I finished all my coaching stuff, all my coaching duties, and all the content I want to post. And I was just over here getting snacks, and I was just thinking, I was like, we don't have to go all out for Nats. Like if Taylor doesn't show up, this is before Taylor. I think Taylor dropped out, honestly. So I was like if he doesn't like come, like we're gonna squat 700 no matter what. But then after that, if he doesn't come, I was like, let's just hit right above the total just to take it. And then me and Joe were talking, and he was like, I mean, you could honestly do it on 7 out of 9 attempts. And I was like, I could. It just depends on how I feel going into it. And then at that point, he was just like, all right, we'll see when we get down to it. And then when we were doing talking about what we wanted to hit at the meet, honestly, I guess he forgot about our conversation because like the week before he was like, I think we should take like this, and this. And it was like 9 for 9 lifts. And I was like, no, remember we talked about going 7 for 9? He was like, oh, you just want to make your second attempts your openers then? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's just do it that way. And then we just backed everything up and then kept the squat the same.
Okay, so did it mean more to you to do it in 7 attempts?
Yeah, it meant more for me to do it in 7 attempts. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I
And
just
here's, sorry,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. So I actually just wanted to like prove that there was a gap and to show how like easy it was to hit above that because I mean whenever we had this decision also Shell hadn't hit the 815, he had only hit 800, so we were just showing that even if Taylor did come back or even that whenever we show up to Worlds we'd be ready to hit anything above the world record. So it was just basically a statement to just be made to show everyone that it's not that hard and we can do it on any platform at any time. We lift to comp standards and we just go in and compete on the day.
I mean, here's I have the utmost respect for Taylor. Love what Taylor's done. He's been known him for years. So I say this out of all, with all due respect. But Taylor at 100% in his prime, the best performance he's ever done is 838.5. You hit 839 in cruise control. If Taylor's at 100%, do like 100% right now, even or
Mm-hmm.
100% in his past, this is where you're cruising at right now. Like, I
Yeah,
don't. Do you think you'd have to go all out, even if Taylor did? You were like, if Taylor shows up, we go all out. Do you think that would be necessary?
I'm still gonna do it for sure because it's still that the point of not being able to do it in the past. Whenever we were just like I was still growing up, I was still doing things that weren't 100% dedicated to training. So I was just trying to go by and that little time period. Well, that 2021 when I wasn't even close to 800, I had like a small pain. First time I was dealing with the pain, I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want any like excuses on or anything. Like I'm a person that grew up in a sports background. Like if you play football, you got a little sprained ankle or something, you're just gonna be like, all right, it's whatever. I'm gonna still run on it. So I was like, it's not like it's hindering me from like getting stronger. I just get scared in the hole and I get more self-conscious. So I figured that out and fix all that stuff. So just being able to just go against him 100%, like would just be like all the times. You know, I wouldn't just give him the benefit of the doubt and be like, oh, I can come in here and hit only 7 out of 9 attempts. I would want to give him the respect that he's always given me and just gone all out no matter what. Because I mean, I feel like he probably could have not won 838 that day in 2021, but he still did it. And he was just like, I'm gonna just go all out no matter what. no matter how close this person is. So I might as well have done the same thing.
That's fair. Because you never know. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you
right.
never know.
You don't want to get caught sleeping.
Yeah,
By
that's
the
why I
time
always
deadlifts
tell
rolls
them.
around, you're like, oh, shit.
I'm like, guys, you're talking about winning Sheffield right now. I'm like, hey, bro, I got to make it the world's first play, bro.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not just
fair.
gonna walk in here and just think I'm just gonna take it. I'm going here and I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
But I mean, anything could happen. You never know.
Right. Fair enough. And you talked about that in your Instagram stories. We'll get to that in a sec with Shell and the rest of the people at Worlds. So having said that, do you estimate if you're 100%, you're 100%, you come in there and you show you're 100% on the platform. What are we talking about here? What kind of total range is that?
I'll say it right now. I was thinking like 860 to 870 range, but I'm thinking like mid to low 870s. Like on a good day, probably not even pushing it to the max. Because I watched a video on someone that does like calculations on powerlifters or something like that. And they posted one about me. And then they were saying like top end strength on deadlift on that day was probably like on that day was around 345 to 347 and a half, or no, 342 to 345 and a half or something like that. And I was like, I don't know. I feel I could have pulled like 350 that day. I was like, I could have sworn I could have pulled 350 on like I would have put my money on it. I was just telling my fiance when we was watching it. I was like, to be honest, after I hit that, I would have told Joe just put on 350 just to see if we can pull it, to see how far we can go. Like that's how good I was just feeling on that day. With bench, I feel like I would have jumped to probably like the 202 and a half range just to hit it. I just have to figure out this Alico carpet. That's the biggest thing for me, man. Not gonna lie, that shit's just does not feel good to me, and I can't get leg drive. I saw my opener, and then my second attempt moved. It got to a sticking point because I just couldn't drive with my feet. Because if I did, it would just throw
Yeah.
it off. So no, yeah, I mean, I think 870 would be good on a good day, hitting 700 again or around 320, and then hitting 318 to 320, and then taking 202 and a half to 205 and like 350 on a day, around 870. I think it's there. And I think it'll be like my 851 meet too. I don't think it'll be like super grindy.
First off, these are freaking wild numbers for a 74. This is the craziest, man. Okay. So you at 100%, you operating at 100% going all out.
Mhm.
Name the 74s that can beat you. Be
Okay.
honest.
I don't think anyone, if 100%, if we have to go all out just to go all out, I don't think so. I probably would have changed my answer before this meet, to be honest. I'd be like, maybe I'll get shaken up and like I don't know. But the confidence that I've gained from my fiance helping me with that, because I had a huge issue with self-confidence and powerlifting. Like I might have done good on the day, but I just felt like before probably I met her, it was just luck. That's what I would always tell her. I was like, it was luck. Like I got by, some person messed up like 2021 Nats or 2020 Nat, 2019, when Michael C was there. I was like, Michael was gonna beat me and Taylor was gonna beat me, but then he got hurt. I just got lucky that day. And it was my first Raw Nationals too. I was like, I just got lucky. That's just what happened. The 800, no one was really there. I grinded those to the max, passed out. I was just like, that was just a lucky day. And I didn't hit it again. Like a couple meets. I think I had like 2 meets in between that time or 3 meets in between that time. And I still hadn't hit 800 again. I was like, it was luck. The college, whenever I got better, I was just like, well, there's a certain point to when you get to like high school or college level and you compete. You're just going to be better than everyone else. But, like when you get to that next pro league, you're not going to be better than everyone else. So I had the same anticipations coming out of college being like, oh, I'm going to be this great lifter. And then I come out and I was just like, yeah, everything else was just luck. And she was like, no, like you put in the work, you did this. As long as you put in the work, everything's going to go your way. Nothing will go wrong if you're doing good out of the gym. You're hitting depth when you need to, making sure you're pausing your bench is longer than usual. As you can see in my video, she holds me longer. And then deadlift, just make sure everything's locked out. She's like, as long as you do everything humanly possible and you're training on the same equipment, the weight's going to feel the same everywhere. It doesn't matter what's going to happen. It doesn't matter the time change. Your body is prepared. It's just mentally what's holding you back. So her teaching me that and giving me that confidence, now I'm just going in and I feel like there's nothing that really could just stop me. As long as I'm doing what everything I can do possible and making sure because I have people around me, they'll tell me if my squats are high, even if it's like the slightest. They'll be like, that's depth, but that's not IPF depth. Like, we got to get that down. Joe's not hesitant to tell me that. Those are the type of people I need in my corner, not the people that are just going to be like, oh my God, that squat was heavy. and it was there. Like, no, I don't need that. I need to be like, I'm undeniable. 3 white lights, no 2 white lights. I don't need anything overturned in the IPF. And so now that I'm in that mindset, I just feel like at 100%, there's nothing that anybody can stop me. I also have a quote. I know I listened to your podcast with Gavin, and now I was like, I gotta go get these quotes down
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys just throwing quotes around everywhere. All right, I don't know who said this one because I completely forgot. I think it was probably a Kobe quote. He said, "It's always me against me, and everyone else is just in the way." Literally, that's just how I feel at the moment. It's me and me. I've done this. All I have to do is just conquer myself in the back, and now I'm just like thinking I got this instead of thinking I hope I get this. That's the biggest thing. So
Dude, I
stuff like
can't. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
no,
sorry.
no, that's good. That's where I wanted to that.
I am shocked to hear that you had confidence issues previously. Was it like what is the timeline with the confidence issues? Because your 851 was freaking incredible. Was it must have been previous to that, like since 851?
Mm-hmm.
Have you just because that's like an undeniable, that's insane.
Yeah,
Um,
with the 851, after I hit it, I was still like, and like I don't think I wouldn't contribute 100% to luck and just say it was lucky that I hit it and that no one was that close. I wouldn't say no one was there because I give Joey Borenstein his props. He did really good. But after that, I was just like, damn, like I was like, I don't know. Maybe it was just USAPL stuff. I was like, maybe it was just maybe more relaxed judging. I don't know. I still got to go over to the IPF. They said that judging's a lot harder, even though I've been through the IPF part. You know, we just had the split and everything. But yeah, I still had a little. I was just more confident in other things. Like I just got more confident in my deadlift and then my squat a little bit, but bench and squat, I was still kind of like iffy. Like I just don't know. Like every time I get over a certain number on bench, I just start to freak out, and then everything is just like it just feels constantly heavy. And then in squat, like I said, I had that knee pain every once in a while, and then I would go in the before I would go in the gym, I would be scared because it's like, oh shit, like this knee pain actually kind of hurts, but it doesn't like affect squat that much. It just hurt a little bit. Then I would go into the gym and then I would hit sets and I would literally just be fine. And then just with squat, it's just like you just never know with judging. Like some people might think you're lower, some people might think you're higher. It's just a iffy thing. So I just got super nervous. But now I just feel like I've got to this point where I wonder if other powerlifters feel like this. I kind of get into this like flow state now. Like I noticed it the first time I hit 851. It was just like everything was just I feel like I had this overwhelming force when I was lifting. It was just well, I got this no matter what. Like whenever I unrack it, I don't just shake my head just to look cool and be like, okay, I'm like in my head, I'm telling myself, oh yeah, like that felt light actually. So once I get that point and I'm just like, oh, okay, it's light. I'm just like anything, it doesn't matter how much I'm gonna grind it, I'm going to get this no matter what. And now I'm just like that throughout the entire meet. Like I was just like zoned in. Even Joe was like, at one point I was just like, I'm freaking hot. And he's like, dude, you're radiating heat. It's like you're just producing. Like doing squat, I was just like, because I get kind of like not angry, but I get like in a mode. It's just like I change everything. I compare it to like when you guys were talking about Mike Tyson, and he was just like, I'm just not that same animal anymore. I'm not that same person anymore. Well, like whenever I'm lifting, it's just like I change. Like even my fiance said she's noticed it now. Like this past month going in the nationals, it was just sometimes on my primary days, she was just like, I just can't even talk to you because you just look so like upset. And it's like, yeah, I just get
really?
where it's like I could just tap into something else where it's just like everything leaves my mind except for getting this weight no matter what.
Is this relatively new?
Yeah, like I said, this just started like I did it a few times whenever in training in 851, and then during the comp I felt it, but then I didn't like recognize it. It was just a thing where it was just like okay, like I'm just feeling good, like I'm on one day, like everything's just going our way. Now it's just like I can channel it, and it's like whenever I get that nervous, it's like before my 700, my heart was beating so fast, and I'm like, calm down, love this feeling, accept this feeling in your gut, and use that. Just use it as confidence. Like your body isn't scared; it's just trying to hype itself up to where it gets to that point where you can lift the weight. Because I don't think you can just go in the gym and just hit a certain weight any day. Like if I went in and tried to squat 700s today, I don't think it would be possible. I'm just not in the right head state for it. And some people can be like Gavin and go in the gym and hit a PR right after another and just get in that headset all the time. Like I said, he might have that same feeling where he knows he's that overwhelming force on the weight and can make any type of weight move.
It's funny you mentioned Mike Tyson because he said like when I think he was like 54, made that comeback, fought Roy Jones in an exhibition, and he looked insane in training, so fast, so everything. And a reporter asked him, what was it like being 54 years old walking down to the ring? And he's like, I never told myself I was 54 years old walking down to the ring. I said,
Hmm.
I am energy. I am energy coming down to the ring. And
Yeah.
that's what they output. And for yourself, it's almost like I am not a 74-kilo lifter squatting 700 pounds. That's
Mm.
insane. I am energy underneath that bar.
Yeah.
That
Literally,
there
like,
is, don't put a number on it. It is
you just
what it
gotta
is.
move it. Like I already told you before, when like the first time I was on the podcast, I was like, it's literally just a number. And Gavin helped me. I guess he reassured me because I talked to him before. We're at Powerlifting American Nationals. We trained. I trained the day before, and then he was coming in training 2 days before, I guess. But we were talking, and he was like, dude, he's like, you got the 700 squat if you do it tomorrow. He was like, you already hit 315 and a half. I mean, 313 and a half. He was like, that extra weight on there is literally just objects on there. It's going to feel the exact same. Like it might be literally heavier, but it's going to feel the exact same. Your body doesn't know the difference between 10 kilos or 7.5 kilos. It just knows that
No.
it just knows that it's weight on top of it and you have to push it up. It's literally just the same thing. And I was like, he made that click in my head as well. So I was just like, I'm glad he said that. Now I'm not just crazy.
Dude, Gavin is the guy to have around if you want some mental pump up.
Yeah.
He is, he is literally the guy. So for you, it's interesting to hear, like, your 851 was phenomenal. I remember I had you on the podcast. You guys, that performance literally sparked the debate of the greatest powerlifting performance of all time. We did a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's Eric Helms, Rory, Matt Gary brought in a panel, and we're going through. Even if it wasn't considered the greatest, it sparked the debate. What is then? That's how good it was. Even if someone wanted to be like, well, I don't think 851 was the greatest of all time, it was enough of a performance. People had to have that conversation. We had to
Mm-hmm.
revisit the list. If it's not on the list, where is it? If it's not at the top, where is it? Because it was that good. That's freaking good. But it's
I'm
interesting that you were like, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that yeah, all of you had me top three performances, which I mean, like I always say, if people want to compare my performance to Jesus's, that's like that. I will take that 100%. Like, there's not anything I would just because he has the biggest total ever. Like, there is no, you can't debate with that and say that's not the greatest performance ever. But like I always say, it's different. So if you put his above mine, I'll be like, okay, you just respect a person that lifts the most weight. But then when it comes to pound, you can't help but put me at the top right there because it's, I mean, literally, besides one formula, I don't think I have in every other formula like dots and IPF points, I'm pretty sure. But then I think I don't have Wilks. I'm pretty sure Jesus has that.
Here's the thing: you go to Worlds. If you win Worlds, you have a really good chance of winning Best Lifter at Worlds. So that's a huge caveat as well. Well, in looking at the World Championships, so Shell did 815. All right, decent, respectable, like a better and respectable. That's phenomenal. Only because
Yeah.
you're around, only because you're alive, is that not getting the kudos it probably should. But if we took you out of the equation, that is absolutely phenomenal. Even compared to 838.5 by Taylor, that's getting reasonably close to Taylor. Like if it was Taylor Prime, Shell right now in the second wind, very good. But now it's not going to be enough to beat you at your best for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, it just isn't going to be, if we're honest. I don't know what percentage you have to be for another 74 to beat you, but you have to be pretty low percentage performing for another 74 to actually threaten you. I'll
Yeah.
say it. I don't know how comfortable you are saying that, but it's the truth. I say that with respect. Got full respect for these guys. However, what Shell can be a threat to is bumping the world record up enough to mitigate what you could do at Sheffield.
Yeah, I know. That's I've been trying to keep that off of my mind for the longest.
And it's like, Shell, relax. My man, relax. You're hurting my wallet. You're hurting a lot of things, man. What are you doing?
This man putting a strain on my body just because. I'm like, why? I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
And everyone's just like, he's like, bro, they're like, he's over the age of 30. He doesn't care. He's gonna go in there and get his no matter
If,
what. Whatever he can, he gonna take
oh,
it.
yeah. Here's the thing. Before Shell, the world record was 790.
Hmm.
That's a wrap. You are almost 100 kilos past 790, for God's sake. Sheffield, that's a wrap. No questions asked. You're still probably a favorite to take Sheffield, but Kjell came around from 790 to 815. He's throwing 25 freaking kilos. It's like, my dude, you're killing me here. You're still a favorite, but instead of being a runaway, oh my God, no questions
Yeah.
asked favorite, it's like, Kjell, if you keep bumping this up, your 25 kilos is a significant bump for like a 4-month period, because he did one in December and then one he just did. It's like
Yeah.
Kjell, if Kjell comes to Worlds and bumps that and forces you to go like, I don't know, if Kjell is 825, it's like, my dude, I have to be 100% for Sheffield now. I have to be 100%. He
It's like I can't
changes
go
it.
in here. I can't hope for like a back-to-back year. I can't
Yeah,
just because of you. Just because of you. Now I have to go all in on this one year. Now I was like, thanks. I appreciate that. That's
damn
good.
it, Kjell. But it's interesting. But is Sheffield really so for yourself? You know, you did 851, and obviously you bested Taylor's best 7 attempts. I mean, it's crazy what you're doing, and you really are in a league of your own. Do you think do you think you're being given the credit you deserve yet? Or if not, what do you think you got to accomplish to gain that credit?
I don't think I think I'm getting the credit I deserve in the US 100%. I'll say that. I'll say they give me my props, they give me my flowers in the US 100%. I'll even say like the North America, just in general, North and Central America. Um, but when it comes to like Europe and over there, I don't think I have my respect. And it's just because I haven't hit it on I wouldn't even count Powerlifting America as an IPF platform. I just think if it's not Worlds or Euros or Sheffield or the Arnold UK, they're not going to give you any respect. They just don't think that you have to do the travel thing. That I can see where it comes to affect with some people, but I feel like more people have overcome the travel than not overcome the travel from the US, where we have like these big performances. If you compare me to let's say Russ, Jesus, Taylor, Jen Thompson, all these other people, Ray. I feel like if you compare me on a scale to them, how they performed in the US and how they can transfer over, I just feel like I'll be one of those people that does. And I've done the travel before. It's been years, but I just don't take consider it a huge thing. But I feel like people have like a criteria that you have to pass overseas, that you are good enough or you are what you say you are. So I just feel like I got to go over there and perform. Once I do that at Worlds, I feel like everybody will be like, oh, okay, all right, it's fine. Even if I don't hit like 850, I bet people will still make the comment like, oh, well, he did hit his best over there. And it's like, well, I mean, we got Sheffield. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna just
Well,
go all out, all out.
right. Well, here's another question. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I asked Bob about his performance at Worlds and obviously Sheffield's on the line, and Bob was like, I don't give a shit about that. I'm going all out at Worlds. I'll do 1,000 kilos at Worlds if I can, and then I'll show up at Sheffield and just keep it moving from there. And I was shocked. That's crazy. To me, that's crazy. I would do just enough to win. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm just gonna go because I mean I'm just gonna try to play the long game of anything. I'm gonna try to push it as much as or as little as I can, as much as I can. Um, but I just think it's I mean the thing with Shell too. This is with Shell. I want to add him to the mix because even if it's like let's say we do total around the same thing and then Sheffield they're like hey like we'll give Shell the other 74 spot. We can go 1 and 2. You're just making it like you're making it harder for both of us. Like even if you would come or something, they bring someone else. Like 1 and 2, top 3 is still good. You
Yeah.
know, like that's just how it's gonna play. First, second, and third, you're still getting a bag. It's just like after the world records and stuff where you start chipping up more money. And of course, I'm gonna try like squat, maybe bench if I can get to it by then, deadlift and total. So I'm gonna try all for all of those. Like you can still make some money though. Like,
Yeah.
so if you're just boosting the world record up even more, though, you're just making it harder for you to get even a higher place. So let's not say you even want to win. You're not shooting for winning. Like, I don't care about winning Sheffield. You still got first through fifth where you can make a bag.
100%, and bags all along the way.
Yeah, right.
Isn't it weird that, like, of all people, who would have ever thought this year in this conversation, the person that you have to, that's like, uh, it's a fucking a stick in your wheel type deal for your plans, a Shell. 35 years old, married, kids, crazy injuries, multiple time world champion, and nobody was saw Shell coming back.
Mhm.
And of all freaking people, instead of like a young stud rising up from God knows where, It's freaking Shell from 2017. Who
Yeah.
would have thought this dude coming back? And we're talking about, I mean, if he goes to Sheffield, he could podium. Who would have thought this?
No,
Where did
yeah.
this come from?
It's crazy because people don't know about Shell. Like I've known about Shell because I did equip lifting, so I knew it was always Shell and
Yeah.
Oleg. I knew it was Shell and Oleg the whole time from like I think like 2018, 2019. I know that it's not a long time ago to some people, but for me, it's a long time ago. And
Right,
I was just like to see him come back, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. I'm like, at least it's like it's one of the greats I got to go against. Like
right.
it's kind of like it's coming out like the two eras clashing. Like I like that rather it just be like this huge gap or um it's just not it's not bad that it would have been someone else, but I think it's better that it is Show.
You wanted every like in sports, look at like in professional wrestling, for instance. I know it's fixed, right? Obviously, right? It's orchestrated anyways. But they never want a champion just to leave. They want
Mm-hmm.
a passing of the torch. It's always better storyline wise, public viewing for some kind of a passing of the torch. This is
Mm-hmm.
the new guy, and they got to face off. Previously, whatever we were thinking, obviously Atwood, but everything that's happened. However, Shell coming back, he still is from that era. He's to your point. He's an all-time great, multiple-time world champion in equipment, one world champion in classic, and he came back and took the world record and is the current world record holder. There still is a passing of the torch that can happen from one
Mm-hmm.
era to another. In him taking the world record and being a legend in the game, and he has a direct link being 1-1 against Taylor and whatnot. There still is some of that. So I do think it. Do you think it means more that it's him as
Yeah,
opposed to just a random dude?
yeah, I think it's more because, like I said, I've known him since I was still a teenager. So it's like it's just cool to be able to. The first time that I'm going over for open worlds is the time I'm going against someone that I've watched and like knew what Worlds was. So it's like, oh, I saw him at Worlds. Like, I didn't watch Classic Worlds. I watched like Open Worlds, like
Oh wow.
Equipped Worlds. Like that's what I watched because I didn't even know I wouldn't. Whenever I got recruited to Midland, I was an equipped lifter. I wasn't even a raw lifter. Hadn't even done my first raw meet yet. But then going in, I had already watched Equipped Open Worlds, and I was just like. I was like, oh shit, like these guys are like super strong. So it's crazy to just be in that moment where it's like finally it meets.
Yeah, especially that's wild that you watch Equip Worlds, man. I don't know too many people who watch Equip Worlds first off, but he probably is gonna be in the Hall of like he beat obviously he beat Atwood and he beat Oleg. I mean, he is the goat slayer, right?
That's why I'm
Dog.
scared. I'm not going in here with no false pretenses. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna try to do my thing. I think Shell's a great guy. I'm trying to keep all the good energy. I'm not trying to go in this thing and he slayed me. I'm good.
Now, I was gonna say that is the greatest of tasks. If it's you, he needs you to really fumble the ball. He needs you to make some serious mistakes to catch up to you. But yeah,
Thankfully, I got Matt Gary in my corner. Thankfully.
well, that's true too. Fine. You got not only does he have you a goat, but he's got a goat handler he's got to deal with as well. And Matt Gary does not make mistakes. He's going to get you the win no matter what. That's a fact. Do you think so? Obviously, there's the world championships, and you have like all-time greats like Shell, and the fact that Shell's there, he will battle test you. If people are if they want to see a battle in there and they want to be like, well, who have you beat head to head? You'd be like, well, Shell's going to be in the Hall of Fame whenever he retires.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, that's it. That helps give you that credibility. Well, I won the world championships on the other side of the world against an all-time great. That should silence that to a large extent.
Yeah.
But do you think, what do you think will be your, well, okay, is Sheffield where you're going to make the claim that this is my era and I am the pound for pound best in the world? And do you think that, or do you think you already have that title? What the?
I, I think I have to win Worlds for it. I will probably announce it at Worlds because I know a lot of people. Um, I know I know Pete hates formulas, but a lot of people like base things on formulas, and a lot of people base things off of world championship. So if I've finally done everything else besides Sheffield, which is a new meet, new thing, and there can only be one winner as well, it's not like it's multiple categories. I think just winning worlds puts you at the top of the top. There's literally nothing else anyone can say about you. Like you can win Sheffield and people will say more about you, but when it comes to IPF Worlds, I've seen the reaction it's had on people. It's like if you win literally USAPL Nationals, no one really cares. You win the Pro Series, no one really cares. You win Pilots in America Nationals, people care in America. And I feel in IPF are like, oh my gosh, who is this person? Because I've gotten like, I think I've gotten over 3,000 followers since Nats. Just
Really,
yes,
dude?
like it was like 1,000 the day of. So I'm
No
guessing like
shit.
IPF people are like, what the fuck is going on with this guy now?
It's
Like,
the wildest. Okay, for me, it's kind of wild. I didn't expect when the split happened. I didn't expect the rest of the world to like almost turn an eye to USAPL like that, like quite like that. In not only just did the viewership drop like crazy on USAPL, but the credibility, even though there was such quality lifters, the lifters over there were still quality for like, I mean, Russ wasn't at the last one, but he was previous. Like, but the thing is, people started being like, I, I don't know what happened there. I'm not sure. You're right though. They just
yeah,
all automatically, well, it doesn't mean anything. It's like how though? That I didn't understand.
yeah. So
But
that was my thing. I saw it when I was like the credibility thing. Like I said, I think I got the credit in the US. Like because most people do USAPL, and not of everyone can just go to go to Worlds from the IPF side. So they're always just on that American side, no matter what. The only people that really know about that IPF side are people that are overseas in European countries, or they're just on that IPF affiliate side. Other than that, everyone just cared about the USAPL and what was going on there. So I got the US vote, but the country as a whole is just like, nah, it's just USAPL. He did all that in the USAPL. Like that doesn't matter. Like, it's okay. And then I finally hit a big total on something that has IPF behind me, and everyone's just like, oh, he actually is good.
yeah, it's crazy.
But then they're just like, oh, well, now he's kind of closer to Shell. Like he missed his one or two lifts. Like they still don't consider that 851. They still consider just the 839. So they're just seeing the. I mean, like Shell still. I mean, he still could. Like I'm not. Like I said, I'm not counting him out. But like I said, it would take me for me to miss something tremendously and mess up for it to be as close as people think, because they're just taking into consideration the 839.
So a couple things on the 74s. Then we'll move forward. But a is there? It Shell's the number one threat. Is there anyone else that it's got you second guessing? Obviously, Callie and Tim did not cross the 800 kilos yet. Is it basically Shelly you got because he not only hit 800, now he's from 800 to 815 in his mid 30s. I'll be honest, I'm a big Shell guy. Like he's a tough guy not to like. I'm glad you have somebody for sure and a legend at that. 15 freaking kilos in a few months. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
That for mid 30s, like a dad, a guy who's got a like job the whole nine. 15 kilos in a few months as a 74 is wild.
Yeah.
If he could do another 15, that's a big ask. That's a big ask. If he could do another 15, if he could do a 10, and he's 825 to 830, holy shit, we got ourselves all right. Okay, we got ourselves a little something, something. Is there anybody else that you're worried about, or I maybe worried isn't the word, but
I mean, when it comes to like, I'll play off of the if or when I get the if or when I get the spot to Sheffield. I'm looking out for honestly the world records, and like I said, I feel like I can pull over 340. I don't think they'll push it that much, but I just think they'll push it a little bit. I push it a little bit more, like Tim, Carl, and Shell. Like let's just say like Shell misses an attempt on something or something like that, and it's closer with those guys, and Tim and Carl come back stronger, and they're like pushing that like maybe that 810 to 815 range, and they get close. I just feel like they're gonna have to pull over the world record to stay in it, and that's just gonna push me up, because I'm not gonna go if I go and I'm just trying to hit right above it. We're gonna try to secure it on the second and make them kind of push and chase. I'm guessing that's what we're gonna do. I haven't talked to Matt yet, but no, yeah. So it's just kind of hard with them pushing it and pushing the record and stuff like that. Like I'll probably take the squat world record, but won't like I'm not gonna squat 318 probably. I'll probably squat between like 305 and 310. Just try to take that one and keep that one good. And then I just feel like they're gonna boost the deadlift world record. I don't know. I just have a feeling like it'll be just my luck that the freaking 10 kilo Shell adds is to his deadlift and his 350. And I'm just like, I'm
he's got
like,
a
all right,
big
cool.
he's got a big pull.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like I just see them like saying, forget about it. I'm gonna go for it all instead of trying to seize the second. And he's just gonna pull something monstrous. And I'm just gonna be like,
You'd be like,
well,
settle down, man.
I guess that's it.
It's yeah. I guess you're in a position where if they have a bigger deadlift on the day anyways, like do you think you'll be pulling last at Worlds?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I'll be pulling last. Like I'll probably no, yeah, there'll be no reason for me to pull last. I would have to like overstretch. I would overstretch the world record too much if I did pull last. Because I have to have a big squat
So here's
to
the thing. Here's the thing. Here's what's tough. You want to obviously win Worlds. You don't want the total to be too high because you're shooting yourself in the foot for Sheffield. On the flip side, so you're going to go into a little bit of cruise control.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, if you cruise too light and you misjudge what you think Kjell's top end is, and you're not pulling last, and he pulls last, if you left it too low and Kjell gets to pull last, he's like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah,
You
exactly.
misjudged. Yeah, he's like, I couldn't beat you at 100%, but you went cruise control. I pulled last. Miracles happen. Now, I honestly, SPD is probably going to bring you no matter what the Sheffield. They'll be like, oh, wow, they'll know what happened. Everyone will want to see the rematch. As a matter of fact, it would make Sheffield even bigger
Mm-hmm.
because the rematch, everybody be like, oh my, this would be like when Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson. It
Yeah,
would be like,
I
oh
literally just
my,
watched that video yesterday.
it would be crazy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be happy because you wouldn't be the world champion at this moment. You would probably end up winning it. The next year, be like, okay, well, fuck that. No more cruise control. I'm gonna lay it on you, fellas. But
Yeah.
but is there like is Shell keeping it interesting enough to be like that? Like, how would you judge? Like, are you gonna tell yourself, look, at 840 is where we end off. 840, Shell should not be able to hit 840 based off of 815. That's still a fucking high total for Sheffield, though.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is my thoughts on it. I'm not the numbers guy, so I'm glad I got Joe and Matt gonna be helping. But I think I think the goal would be to go in and hit 3 squats, 3 benches. I'm not gonna go 7 for 7 this time. I'm actually gonna go in and hit all three because I'll need all three. Um, I think we go in, we hit a decent enough squat, and then we go to bench and we get to where our opener deadlift puts us at 820. I think that's what we should do. Opening deadlift should hit us at 820. And then from there on, we can
Maintain.
we can maintain and do what we need to do. It's like, oh, okay, we're 820. We'll see what he's going, what he's hitting. We're like, oh, well, he's gonna try to go the 815 to 825 range. Let's just put on that 10 more kilos, 20 more kilos on our second attempt. And then third attempt is like, what is he get it? How many keys does he have left? We'll add the 5, add the 2.5 if we need to. That's what makes me think I won't be the last puller. Like I might be in the mix, probably like I might be like literally in the middle, like fourth the pool, fifth the pool, or from the back, from from the past. But no, yeah, I don't think I'll be pulling last though.
It's a good plan because 820 might win it, depending on how Shell is that day. And if he goes from 815 to 820 and whatever, see where you're at. If you just need another 5 keys, and you're out. And you don't ruin yourself, your Sheffield percentage wise, because you have to break the world record by percentage, obviously.
Yep.
And then you could kind of cruise. And you have Matt Gary, you got Joe. These guys are not first timers. They've been to several world championships handling, so they're gonna help you out. But it makes it interesting. It
Unless,
is a
unless we just go, we open up pretty high. We open at like 326 or 3. I'm at 326, 325, and then we just jump to the world record and just chip it. Just be like, just put it on there, and then they have to chase that on the
the
last.
thing. Matt Gary does not like super big jumps where you risk
Yeah.
too much. He's a risk adverse handler.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Here's another thing, man. If you hear rumors about Shell being injured, don't believe that.
Oh, I'm not believing. I don't.
I would
Taylor
do
got me
that
to
if I
play
was
too many
Shell.
times.
If I'm from Norway, I'm like, I'm not feeling 100%. You could probably go light. You could probably cruise the 800, win this. That's bullshit. Shell is doing some crazy stuff right now. I don't believe anything. I don't know.
Nah, man. I have his post notifications on now. I'm like, I gotta see what's progressing. I gotta see what's up.
you
How much
you
you
need
progressing?
you need a mole in Norway to be like, my man, you're not sneaking up on me. You're not. That's the chance right there.
Yeah, I can't get. He trains out of his basement most of the time, so it's like,
That's true,
plus
man.
I can't even get anybody to watch. I can't find any.
No shit.
No
He's
scouting
sneaky.
reports anywhere.
He's sneaky. What else are you looking forward to from like other lifters at Worlds?
I'm excited to. Okay, so I do want to talk about Worlds a little bit because, um, I think that the U.S. men's. I don't know about the women. I don't know too much about the women. I'm not saying they can or can't sweep. Just want to put that out there before anyone listening to this. Be like, he said this. I'm not saying anything about the women's because I'm not on that team.
Good. I'll tell you in a minute about the women's, but go ahead. Go ahead with the men's.
Yeah, with the men's, I think there's like a 80 to 90% sweep. Like, I feel like it's possible, but it just depends on everything. And I just feel like we have people that we can 100% say that they'll win just because of matchups, not because of them in general, just because of how it plays out. And then we have people that are just closer than what people think. Like they can win 100%. They're coming in over, but like, will they win? That's the biggest thing. So I'll start from the bottom and top. Like Waskar's got
Let's
that.
do
I
it.
don't think anyone's.
Well, hang on one sec. Hang on one sec, though. Here's the caveat.
Okay.
Heavy rumors. Fedo's back. The GOAT 59. And I obviously, because he's equipped, unequipped, whatever. And for anyone listening, it's been a hot minute. His total is like, what is it? Like 670. It's ridiculous.
No, like we talked about this, I think 2 days ago, and I was like, bro, it's wild how far like Waskar did so amazing. I'm like, oh, dude must have like broke the record because I didn't know what the record was. Then I went in and checked it, and I was like,
that's crazy. However, I'll give this. Fedo is damn near 40. He's damn near a master lifter. We haven't seen him in a hot minute. I don't anticipate he'll be at like 670 range, but he's so far ahead. How much has he dropped?
mm-hmm.
Is he dropped enough? I'll tell you this. In terms of popularizing the 59s, what Wasker wants to do, and I think he's doing it to a large extent.
100%.
He's like Penna did to the 66s. For a long time, no one wanted the 66s was too small. People like, oh, those guys are 145 pounds too small. Penna comes around, looks Jack Dice, got a great personality, and the 66s all around him turn into all killers. And it's like, oh, we have showdowns. So we have like a charismatic champion who looks bodied up. This is weightlifting. You've got to be bodied up a little bit at least. And you have showdowns to get excited about. Check. People give a shit about this. Everyone loves the 66s now. Wasker, charismatic guy, had him on the podcast. He looks cool, carries himself. He's got charisma. His background story, I don't know if you heard that podcast when he came on, talked about, if you haven't, it's worth a listen.
Okay.
An insane background. Like growing up, man, in Dominican, he was like on the streets as a child, had to get like snuck out of Dominican. It's crazy. So a crazy background. And he might the last check. He needs competition for people like, I don't know if he's gonna win. Oh my god. The GOAT returns. The GOAT returns in Fedo versus him. That's the showdown you need. And he has to be able to go to Sheffield. If you can win worlds, but you don't get to Sheffield, Sheffield is a massive boom in terms of people's profile. All of those boxes checked for Wasker if you could pull this off, but beating Fedo is going to be an insane ask. Anyways,
now that you say that though, now I got to change my percentage down to like 80, 85.
Because between him and Fedo, look, I love Wasker. Fedo has to be the favorite still.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 50-50 even. I would, if I'm cheering. Like I find Wasker's. I'm telling you, listen to that podcast. You're gonna love Wasker. Okay, listen to that one podcast. It's like, my God, he's got it. He's the guy, but he's the underdog, which makes his story better if he wins.
Yep, it does. So I mean, he's on my opposite side of like, it's like just because it's Sergio. That's the thing. If it would have been anyone else and that would have been closer, I would have been like, I got Waskar on him 100%. It knocks it. I'm not saying I don't have Waskar. I still got faith in him. He is older, but then I can't say he's older because then you have Kjell. So it could be the same thing. You never know. And then we have 66s. David Garcia, not David. What's his name?
Jonathan.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, Jonathan. I think he's pretty good, but you can't count Panache Pan out. You just can't count him out. I'm not gonna count him out. That's just another one. It's just like, man, like he could win, he could,
What?
but Pana will come out of nowhere and then he'll just win.
Dude, the 6'6" are red hot on fire. You guys losing Clements,
Yeah.
then losing Brian Lee.
Yeah.
And then I just seen my attention got brought to Kyoto, who's was at Sheffield, has a phenomenal potential top end. He unofficially broke the world record as well, just like Jonathan did at PA Nats. Jonathan did more, by the way. But but Kyoto had a terrible performance at Japanese Nationals. He's a reserve. He's not even the number one guy. He needs someone to drop out to be able to compete. Dude, what's going on in the six? I told Penna, I'm like, Penna, I don't know what happened in the last week, but Clements is out, Brian Lee's out, and Kyoto is now only on the reserves. Now, Jonathan, to your point, broke the world record at PA Nats, had an amazing performance. And in terms of totals coming to Worlds, he has the biggest total registered. So he would be the favorite in that respect. But in terms of
how big though? How big? How big is the gap?
Not massive. It's not like you in the 74s by any means.
If he would have missed that last squat, would he still be number one?
I would have to pull up the numbers to do the math. It's close enough. It's close. Okay. Look at Penna's done more than that in the gym. His top end. Here's the thing with Penna. He never brings his gym total to the platform. However, he's a multiple time world champion. And it's weird. Even after he beat Kyoto at Worlds, going to Sheffield, he was the underdog to beat Kyoto. People voted thinking Kyoto is going to win, and Penna won again. Like, he's the guy who finds a way to win.
Yeah.
To your point, like, it's a phenomenal. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. These guys.
I can't wait to watch them. I want to watch that. I got to go and watch that one. Then you have me. I think I'll bet on myself. If I got to bet on someone, I'm gonna bet on myself. I'm gonna say that's a win right there.
I would think that's a comfortable win.
I got Russ. I'm gonna say he's a win there. Then you have, don't tell me, then you have Petrie. The thing about Petrie is I just don't know. I have faith in him. I just don't know. And then you have the Sheffield champion coming
Gustav.
in.
Yeah,
Gustav. Yeah, you got Gustav coming in too. So that's just the point where it's just like, it's not that I don't have faith in Petrie. It's just I literally just don't know. So that's why I can't put 100% of my chips on. I'm not going to put 100% of my chips on something I just don't know. I got faith. I think he can win it, but I don't know.
Dog, somebody afterwards said, take a look at Petrie's final deadlift. Because I don't know why. The hype on Petrie was so sensational. Mm-hmm. I mean, everyone was talking 900 plus, 900 plus. When he goes 93, it's 900 plus because it's 90 kilo total. He was so solid. He was in 880s. So if he's 93 and he's 3 kilos up, got to be 900 plus. His last deadlift was work. In the moment, I felt he always had it. In the moment while commentating, I was like, he's got this because I full on believe like Petrie's a phenom and he is. However, so I was going off like that. And then someone said, you need to rewatch that final deadlift. It was a lot more of a 50-50 close, holy shit pull than you think. And then when I rewatched it, I was like, oh, that was actually top end, holy shit work. 895 really was like this. And then when you see Gustav, it looked like he had room. Now, every day is a different day. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Gavin hit 895 as well, but he's half a weight class up. But yeah, I don't know. And then Emil, I don't know if you've seen Emil Krastev, totaled 906 in the gym. That's that's in the gym though.
Yeah, I saw that. That was nice. But yeah, with Petrie's last deadlift, to be honest, I thought he was gonna drop it. Like he was in, I was like, oh, because we were sitting like kind of in the front, so I was like, oof. Like I was like, I don't know. Like I started sweating a little bit. I was like, okay, he got it. I was like, yes, and I was like, oh, distressed. Put a little lines. Like I took a little years off of my body. I know the 700 squat probably did too, but I was just like, okay, he got it though. He clenched it. We good. They gave him the lights. Walk off. Go home.
Yeah.
Take
it out of there.
Get on. But no, yeah, I think, like I said, I think he'll do good. I think it'll be a good battle. I don't know if I'll be there still to watch them, but it'll be a good watch either way on the plane ride back or in person. And then I feel like everyone else, if Ashton comes in healthy, 100%, I think
That's a
he's good.
wrap.
Yeah, he just has to come in healthy. Bob, Bob has a battle, but if he's talking about going over, like going at 1,000 or around 1,000,
It's a wrap.
I think it's a wrap. And then you got Jesus, and
That's a wrap as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like the back half of everything is like good. Petrie is like I want to count him as a wild card that I think he is the underdog and he'll go in and he'll win it. It'll be a scrap. It'll have to be close calls. Marcellus needs to make sure he gets on the numbers. I got faith in my boy Marcellus. I love him.
And Matt
Uh,
Gary. Matt Gary's there too.
yeah, and Matt. You got Matt too. So
I mean, you're good. You should
I
be good.
think, like I said, I think around the 80-85% will win it. Everyone's got to come in and do what they need to do. As long as they do that, everything's good. As long as everyone is literally focused on completing this dream team, I think we should be good.
It's
For the men's side.
and Ashton should be 100%. I think he's favored regardless. He's got such a spread. Here's a interesting one I want to throw at you too. We asked Bob afterwards. I was with White Lights Media and doing some interviews, and one of the gentlemen asked him, if you win Worlds and you go to Sheffield, are you going as a 120 or are you going as a 105? And he said 70% chance of 105.
Ooh,
And I was like, oh, so he's going to do an Evie Corrigan. He's going to
okay.
drop down and he's going to battle Ashton one more time as a 105 at Sheffield.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, shit. And if he could total 1,000 kilos and the 105 world record stays around 940 something,
Yeah, that's whoosh, whoo.
Sheffield's going to be tight, sir.
Yeah, that's what I think. I like. I don't see why people just give me like the automatic, probably because they probably still think the world record's low. But yeah, Shell's just messing that up for me. So I'm gonna go in there. I'm just gonna fight, go ahead and do what I can do, give
Yeah.
him my all, try to hit that number if I can. I think we'll be good. We'll be good.
So you're confident you can hit 860 and up as a 74.
Oh yeah, 100%. 860, 100%. I feel like 860 was there on the last day the PLA Nats. We could have went. Let me see. Let me do the calculations to make sure. So let's say if we would have kept the 318, and then let's just add my maxes that I have now. That's 855 and a half. With just if I don't PR on bench and don't PR on deadlift. And I feel like I had 10 kilos left. I had more than I feel like I had like 15 kilos left in the tank on deadlift. So there's that. There's an extra 5. And then I feel like I could have hit 320 on squat. Probably would have grinded it more. Now that I keep watching over and over, it didn't seem like it was much of a grind. And then bench, you add 2.5 to my best one. That's 860 right there. Like that's still with not even that's only pushing 2.5 on each lift except for deadlift, which I feel like I had plenty of the same.
So having said that,
I already know what you're gonna ask.
you already know. You already know. But let's get there.
Go.
Let's get it going. Here's the thing. I'm telling you, in terms of legacy for yourself, in terms of the ultimate showdowns, Kjell, Taylor, whatever. Who do you think is a better showdown right now? Taylor, Kjell, or Russ? Be honest.
Biggest for like publicity wise, are we talking like
and legacy?
Like a main event card?
Yeah.
Like that type of night, it's gotta be Russ. Like I love how people compare us already. So I'm already getting that talk and chatter. And I mean, I love that because now it's kind of like his name wasn't attached really to anyone. And now like my name's kind of attached to him. Like everyone's like, I mean, Perk's still kind of close. He's kind of close. And it's like, yeah, I am kind of close. I'm right there. I'm right there. And I will say that my 839 was easier than his 860. A lot easier than his 860. That's all I'll say about it. That's all I'm gonna speak on it. That's all I'm gonna say. I know 860, 870 is not where he's at. 880 is not where he's at. 890 is not where he's at. That's what he says. But I don't know, man. We'll go against each other in the next series as long as I win the worlds. We have world games, so me and him will be in the same division, so we'll go against each other that way.
Do you think it's possible as a 74 you might be able to out total what he puts up as an 83? Because you got to be close.
Uh,
Sorry, we paused for a second there, so I
yeah,
paused.
okay. You good? You good now? Okay, yeah.
We're good.
So no, yeah, I think 100%, 100% I can. Like it just sucks for him because he has to cut so much. I think that's what just messes him up. I feel like if he had just a little bit more, he would be a lot stronger. Like you give him an extra 2 kilos, 3 kilos, I think he's probably out totaling the 93s at that point. And then it'll be kind of a tougher decision on it. But no, like with the cut, I just feel like that's what puts him at the disadvantage. And I've gotten to the point where I feel like I'm stuck at the same weight now. So like if I'm eating to my heart's content and not eating like the right things, I'm weighing like, oh, let me calculate this because I weighed myself in pounds this morning. uh Around 76 and a half to 77 kilos. That's with me eating like terribly, burgers, beer, chips.
Yeah.
And like that's me eating that. Now, whenever I get literally on my like on a certain diet where it's like I have to eat certain foods to get the right amount of calories in, I'm dropping down to like 75 and a half, 76. And that's with me getting like 2,100 to 2,200 calories. And that's like usually like the max of what I eat and I can eat. So it's like I really don't have to. All I have to do is a gut cut. I do the gut cut, and I'm feeling fine. Like I went in, we made weight the day before at Powerlifting American Nationals. Like I was 70, I think I was like 73, 72, 8, something around there when I woke up the morning before, and then I just started eating until I got to 74, and then I would just wait, use the restroom, get back down, eat all 74 again, and then I woke up the next day, and then I was 73, and then I just sipped on water until I competed. Water and honey and electrolytes, just some stuff just to get some carbs in me and some water in me. And I was really feeling fine. Like I got on the scale, no cramping, no nothing. Felt good, felt strong as ever. So I mean, it's just with him, it's just the cut that just messes him up. So since he has to keep cut or maintain this body weight, it's just gonna be tough, especially going from Nats to Worlds, and then he'll have time to bulk back up, I guess, for Sheffield. But then it's just like keeping that 83 body weight it's just hard for him.
I think you might be right. Okay, so I had this conversation. People hit me up in DMs doing powerlifting sports talk all the time, right? You can imagine. And yeah, I mean, you can imagine. And every single time I post in the stories, it instigates dozens of story replies and people, whatever, they want to debate. And that's like, whatever, let's debate it. And some people were saying, Perk, Rondell, you guys are like not just level up to your contemporaries in your weight class, but period. And other guys who are world champions who are level up on their contemporaries in their weight class would be, a guy like Russ, a guy like, Wasker, whatever, but they're not the level you are or Rondell. But you raise an interesting, but then I was telling them, if you look at Russ's, what he's doing in the gym, it is insane. Like his squat reps, sets, some of his deads, the whole nine, it's crazy. And they were like, he's underperforming on the platform. And then I'm like, but underperforming, he's been the most dominant 83 we've ever seen for years. So that's harsh as well. I'm like, that doesn't sound right to me. I think you might be right. It's not that, like, there's no way the pressure gets to Russ in the way that, like Russ has been in so many battles with Brett Gibbs to like every year, never falling off, never having that off performance, so it's not that. I think you might have hit the nail on the head where he's too big for 83, not too big for 83 because he's like the best in the world, but his body is starting to outgrow 83s. He's so impossibly jacked. But for a 93, it's a big ask. That 90 kilo, unfortunately, would have been nice for him.
Yeah.
I do wonder as well.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I have nothing against Russ's strength. Like I know he's strong. I know he's a strong guy. It's literally just a cut. If he didn't have to cut that, he would be one of the best lifters. Like,
yeah, if he
undoubtedly.
If there was an 87.5 kilo weight class, you would see he would be doing shit like you and Rondell.
Yeah,
He would be like,
he could be out totaling the 105s. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Literally, it's just his body is just he's getting too much muscle for his body, and now it's the cut just drains it. That's just literally all it is.
it is what it is. And I mean, whatever. He's the best 83 in the world right now. But
And it's
yeah,
that's what I was talking about. People who only put people care about formulas and people care about championships. Russ is someone who cares about championships.
right.
That's his brand. His brand is he wins. He wins. He's the best 83 in the world, which he is. So I mean, kudos to him. I mean, he's doing great. It's just that there's just different levels that people care about and things like that. Like I care about being the best in my weight class and being the best overall. And that's something that I just put all my effort towards. And he just wants to be the best in his weight class. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because I mean, you're the strongest person at what is it? What is 83? 181? 183?
182 and a half or
Yeah,
whatever.
something like that. Yeah. Like that's the average weight for a man. So
Facts.
any room you walk in, you're probably the strongest man in that room.
Right. So, in terms of like ultimate showdowns, that would be in terms of your legacy, in terms of what it would mean to powerlifting, in terms of like if you become pound for pound king undisputed, which in my mind's eye, when we took that picture and I put the crown on your head, I wouldn't have done that if I didn't think you were pound for pound king.
Mhm.
I legitimately, that's not just a cute photo op. Legitimately, I already consider you pound for pound king. I think the only one who can test you right now would be Rondell. But Rondell is in a weird moment, and hopefully he gets out of that. And let's see what happens with Rondell. Um, so, anyways, pound for pound, I think is yours. But for in terms of your legacy, in terms of a showdown that not a single person in the world would miss, it's got to be you and Russ.
Yeah.
What do you think in the future? We'll have Sheffield. If you out total him as a 74, he's an 83, that's a wrap. Oh my gosh. If that's a possibility. But
Mhm.
do you see yourself out totaling him as Sheffield as a 74, or do you see yourself, if that doesn't happen, going head to head with him at some point as an 83 and giving the world in boxing and MMA, we have our super fights, super showdowns. Will we see that in the future? Because I think the powerlifting community would go nuts for it.
Yeah, like I said, I'll try. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to go out for Sheffield no matter what. I don't see any cards right now. How everything's playing out, us not having to push it. With him, it just depends on if he shows up on the day, which he usually does show up on the day, and how much he's gained in that amount of time. We really don't know like I guess his meet to meet progression since he took like that year off, and then the year before that he was at 93. So we really don't know besides past stuff what his growth would be between two meets. But if he does add, like I say, 10 to 15 kilos from like this total to Sheffield, I think it'll be tough. I think it'll be tough because I put a lot of faith in my competitors, more faith in my competitors than I feel like I probably should. But I have him probably hitting that. Like if he keeps making the progression he does around that, he's total 860, yeah, so that 875 to 880 range. And it would just be tough for me just to be trying to push that and worry about Sheffield as well and just trying to win that because winning Sheffield means more than beating Russ at 83 at 74. So, but the going up thing for World Games, if I don't have to weigh in a weight class, I'll probably just weigh heavy. I'll probably weigh like 75, 76. And then I'll try my best out total.
Oh, so
100%. Like I wouldn't just go in and just try to IPF points wise. Might as well try to keep up with the weight class above at that point.
okay. So this makes World Games infinitely more attractive to everybody in powerlifting. Sheffield is amazing. Worlds is Worlds. The World Games, if you announce it, I will move into the 83s and go head to head with Russ. Holy smokes, sir. That is a whole nother level of that is the super showdown that everyone wants to see. Everyone's looking at like World Games is that in between Sheffield and Worlds. What does it mean? What does it mean? This is an opportunity for super showdowns to happen.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'll probably be the happiest I've ever been because I'll be able to eat whatever I want. I'd be so happy going into that meet, not having to worry about everything. The only thing that would mess with me mentally would probably be my squat depth because whenever I get heavier, my lever just feel like crap. That's the only thing. Other than that,
Mm.
though, and deadlift a little bit. I feel stronger on the two, but I don't feel like comfortable hitting like going as fast. I would have to like probably slow the squat down a little bit and stuff like that. But that's whenever it comes, we'll figure that out. But no, yeah, it'll be good. I think I'll be in that total of around the eight. I feel like I could probably be in the 890 range if I just gained a little weight. Like they'll put so much on my bench as well. Oh my God. I might could bench 225 at that point. If I just had like 3 kilos on me, let me weigh in at like 76, 77. Oh yeah. Oh
Dude,
yeah.
you give everybody who struggles on bench faith and hope because I remember the days when bench was your Achilles heel. And it was, dude, I don't know what it was holding you back. And now your bench is phenomenal. It's
And
crazy how much your bench has improved.
I've actually like I've just hit I finally broken that barrier to the next thing too. Cause it was just like I just wasn't benching as much as well whenever I started working with Joe in 2020, 2021. Um, that's when we started adding frequency to my bench. I was only benching like 2 weeks, and now I bench 2 times. I was only bench 2 times a week. Now I bench 5 times a week. So that was the biggest thing, I think. And then after a while, it was just breaking the barrier of like once I got the 3 reds, I was just like, damn, this is kind of heavy. Like it would just get to that point. Now I'm to the point where everything around 195 plus feels heavy, but it feels the same type of heavy. So now, like whenever at the meet, no one knows this, but Joe was asking me, he was like, "You sure you don't want to go like?" I opened up at 185. He's like, "You sure you don't want to go 190 then 195?" He was like, "That 185 moves slower than usual," and I was like, "I swear it's the carpet." I've hit 205 in training now. My 195 in my head is just like I can hit this Larson if I need to. I can do this feet up. I was
Yeah.
like, just put it on there, we'll be fine. I'll try to drive with my legs on the carpet. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it didn't work. And it went towards my feet. And I was like, it's fine. Like I just corrected it, didn't think it was just too hard. And he was just like, good call. And I was like, yeah, it's literally, I just can't get comfortable on that carpet. And probably going to try to talk to Alico and Austin and try to get a hook up there and try to train there. Because I need to
Yeah.
get on the carpet as much as possible. That's my biggest fear. I just want to bench over 200. I'm tired of being stuck at 200. I want to bench at least 202 and a half. I'll be happy. I'll be happy with that.
Do you feel like obviously there's an announcement Taylor's going to move a different direction in 2024, injuries and everything, he's not going to be ready in time. Are you past this now? Now are you like looking at other things like okay, our paths might not cross previously, we all wanted the crossroads battle. Are you kind of like look at I don't know what he's going to do and that you're at peace with it?
Um, I did listen to that podcast on the way back home from PLA Nights because I didn't want to listen to it before because I didn't know anything he said. I didn't want to know before. But no, yeah, I heard he was just like he was like sorry. He was like, I know how you feel. He knows how I feel because Kjell didn't show up that 1 year, and he didn't feel like the champion because of that. But and then I heard that he's just not gonna go to a competition that he feels like he's not going to win. And that just didn't sit well with me. And it lost the part of me being like, oh, I actually want to go against him now because I was raised, I wasn't always good at something, like I wanted to play football like every other American boy in the South. I played football. I was decent at it, but I wasn't the best. I had people that like were going D1 colleges. And then like I played with someone that's in NFL now. Like I had like star people on my team, like going places in it. And I wasn't as good at it. And I found powerlifting and I started to be kind of good at it. And like my biggest thing was I had to always fight for a spot. On football, I wasn't first string. Whenever I started off, it wasn't even second string. I had to fight for that spot. So competition has always been my thing. I've always been a competitor. That's what I love to do. That's one thing that I guess I have in common with Gavin. Like I'm gonna burn my ships. I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna try. Like there's no point in me being hesitant on it. I'm gonna go into the competition. I'm gonna fight for it. He said he only likes winning. That's on him. That's his brand. He wants to be a winner. That's all he wants to do. And if he's not gonna show up to a competition unless he's gonna win, by all means. But at that point, I was just like, I see that you're not the person that I thought he was growing up. Like he's still great, still my goat. Like I always say, still my goat, 100%. But I just thought, and he said he did change. Like getting older changes you. Like I've heard that, I understand that. But he's just not a competitor, and I like to compete. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna give it my all, no matter what. If I think I'm gonna lose, those years in 2019 to 2021, I knew I was close. I had to I could win. Did I think I was like 100% going to win? I was like, no, there's a chance I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna get my ass kicked. And he put me in my spot. He did. He taught me my lessons. So no, yeah, I'm done with it now. Honestly, at this point, he like I said, I give him all his props. I think he was a great 74. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been able to think I was able to do the things I was able to do today. I appreciate that. Thank you for pushing me to become the person I am today. But when it comes to competition now, we're just not competitors. And I see that now. And I've said, like, I've dealt with it. It's good. So yeah, you come to my page anymore, you won't hear me talking about Taylor. Unless he talks about my page. Oh, there's
Dude, what the frick? Zoom is wild these days, man. It just, what the hell did that come from?
yeah, for people who are just listening on the video, I put my thumbs up and then there were fireworks in the background. It's crazy.
Wow.
But no, yeah, like I said, it's 100% respect for him. I still appreciate him, and I hope one day we do get to go against each other. But I'm not fixated on it anymore. Like, I'll let him have his time to do his thing, get better, get back to the 100%. When he's ready and he thinks he can win, I'll teach him the lessons he taught me. That's all it's about. I'll pay it back forward.
I think what he was saying is not so much he doesn't want to compete if he doesn't think he's going to win, but more or less if he doesn't think he's 100% and he's like, I'm going to take an L, like I know I am, like he thinks the only way he could beat you if he's at 100%, and even then his 100% by the numbers is below your 100%. So he's thinking, I am doomed for an L, and not only that, I'm not even going to be comparable to what I can do. I think he's tired of putting up subpar performances and then
100%.
people throwing it in his face, being like, you're washed up, you're this, you're that. And he's like, I think that's bothering him, where he's like, if I can go 100% and lose like that, I can be at peace. But at least I can be like, hey, I still feel good about my performance. But if he goes in and he's not 100% and takes an L, it's really hard to accept for him, I think. I think it was
I
more
give
along
him,
those lines.
yeah, I give him that, the not going to come in 100%, but I think he still probably could have totaled over 800. And I will give him this: before I got done with this competition, this last one, and we would have went into it, I still would have been. I'll say this out loud. I would have been nervous. I would have been scared, and I don't know if I would have had the confidence to do what I did on that day. Like, anything could have happened as well. Like, I could have got nervous, and already on my 318 squat, I whenever I took the walkout, my feet were closer than usual, and it kind of threw me off. And that's what made the grind different, because I wanted to make sure I sank it. I was focused on like hitting it for depth. I was like depth on that last one, and I was just overwhelmed. So I feel like if he would have been there again, I probably would have been even more overwhelmed, and something could have happened. Also, I might not have went that 318. I might have went a little bit less. I would have probably went like around that 310 to 313 range again. Or on bench, I probably would have opened up lower. Or on deadlift, I definitely wouldn't have opened up that high. I mean, I think I can now. Like, after that meet, like, everything's changed. But going into it, like, a lot of things would have changed. And I think it probably would have been closer than what he have thought. And that's the part that I'm just like, I wish you would have came and tried, because it would have helped me mentally and been like, oh, like, I know I can get through a meet now. Like, even if I would have lost, it would have just changed me mentally. Um, but no, yeah, I agree though. If he thinks it's 100% thing, he just want to go in 100%, and he's just waiting till he thinks he's 100% to come back again. That's the other part that I'm just confused on, because like I said before, like, I have to stop progressing or stop trying to stop progressing for someone to catch up. And I don't plan that slowing down at all. Like, I feel like I got hella keys on me. He's just giving me more confidence and more time at this point. I'm like, bro, just come back now. Come back now. Let's just settle this. Let me just get the one. And you still have the 2-1, and we're chilling. You still got the lead. That's still a dub.
You're negotiating now. You're negotiating now. Here's the thing. I mean, you're 10 years younger. Your rate of adaptation is only getting worse. You are only going to go faster, further. It's tough here, but you have other challenges now. I still think like if Taylor hits 830 something, people will still tune in to watch, because it's two greats from two different eras clashing, kind of the same era, kind of two different, whatever. But you versus like you saying World Games you're going to go 83, that is insane and would be an absolute must for everybody to watch, especially you go to Worlds, win Worlds. Russ goes to Worlds, win Worlds. You guys clash at Sheffield. If you out total Russ at Sheffield as a 74 and he's an 83, it's bonkers. But if you don't, the World Games becomes it's the rematch regardless in the same weight class. Um, it'll be interesting. And I don't know how does it work? Could Russ go 93 or would he move into the heavyweights for World Games?
I
Because I
think
know
I want to say he moves into the heavyweights. I hope it's like
okay.
that. I hope it's just like
Because they'll keep him 83.
74, 83. I think it's just 74, 83. I hope it's just 74, 83.
If 93s are in there, he might be like, all right, young man, I'm going 90 kilos. You're like, ah, shit. Because Russ is a fucking monster at 90 kilos. So that's like, oh man, still amazing. These David versus Goliath matchups, though, that's where greatness really gets.
Mhm.
It's like Ali versus Foreman. Those David versus Goliath matchups. If you can get a win in a showdown like that, my God, you're absolute legendary. What do you think? Put it this way: do you think you've solidified this is your era? What do you think you have to do? If not, what do you think you have to do to solidify the era? Or if you do think it is your era, what do you think you have done to be like, this is my era? Because I think, in my opinion, 838.5, when Taylor took all the formulas, tested and untested world record, and he'd already won worlds and stuff before that, and best lifter at worlds. So we already had all the titles. I think he solidified his era. Do you think you've done that yet? If you have, why? Or do you think, no, I have a couple things I think I need to do. And what are those things where you're like, this is my era? Pound for pound, this is my era.
Um, so I think right as of right now, um, I always include the women's side in this. With the 839 on the IPF side, I'm still I think third. I'm behind Agata and Leah. So until like I'm past that point and I'm above them in the IPF, I won't consider myself like I won't consider it my era as of right now. This year, I guess we're saying we're walking into Agata's era for a while, especially her collecting these chips like this, going up classes and stuff like this, and going down. Um, I just feel like I need to win worlds first. That's the biggest thing. I've done everything I can on U.S. soil in both federations. Um, like I would say, I wish I would have won the Pro Series, but I think that's fine. I feel like because that won't be around for anymore.
Nobody, dog, historically
Yeah,
speaking, no one's, I don't even know who the fuck is winning what. I'm a
yeah.
powerlifting nerd. Like, I think the rest of the world doesn't even understand how the point system works for the World Series.
So yeah, so at that point, at first I wanted to do that and be that count, but I don't count that anymore. But I've won PLA Nats. I have the highest IPF points as a male. That's pretty good. Um, and then going into worlds, I just want to win worlds. I think best lifter at one of the worlds, even if I don't break the formula again or the IPF formula, I think that's fine. I think as long as I get best lifter at worlds, any worlds would be good. The first worlds would be amazing. I feel like that'll help my resume more. Like my first open worlds, I go in and I get it. We'll see. And then winning Sheffield too. I just feel like that's probably going to be a thing that people are going to start counting the more Sheffields happen. And then also just to win World Games, like just running the gauntlet, the whole thing, like that's got to be like the year solidified. There's nothing that needs to be more. I feel like if you do that, do all of those at least once, especially like in the same year, that like no one can take that away from you whatsoever. Like that's like probably some Ed Cohen stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Listen,
you've done everything. There's nothing like Jesus. He's literally done. I think almost has he got best lifter yet at
at
Worlds?
Worlds, no.
Okay,
No.
well that's the only thing. I mean, but still though, he has like one of those greatest of all time. People are gonna talk about him forever. He has the 1,000-pound squat. He broke that. He won Sheffield. He's won Worlds.
Tested, untested. He is the biggest total ever tested or untested, period, in powerlifting ever. The biggest total in sleeves,
Exactly.
period. I mean,
So
yeah.
he has that, and then once he breaks the equipped one as well, the wrapped one, that's just I feel like that'll be his counteraction to the best lifter because it just wouldn't. It just the formula doesn't just sit well with him, especially if like someone like me or Rondell's there, that's just gonna mess it up. But if he just does that and he has the total in sleeves and in wraps, like
Yeah, you know what?
there's nothing more you can do.
Here's a good question for you. And to an extent, I think because he's a super heavyweight, it's biased against him. Can you be the pound for pound best as a super heavyweight? Oftentimes, once we say pound for pound, people just disclude him because like he's too many pounds. He's 400 pounds or somewhere close. But to an extent, might he be like, listen, I think even pound for pound, I should be in the conversation.
No, yeah, I mean, I gotta think so. I think that there will be a formula that like Wilkes. I mean, he still has like the highest Wilkes, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it's just based off of which formula you use. And it just sucks that the federation he's in just doesn't use that formula. But I mean, like he can still debate it. Like I said, he has the highest Wilkes. So I mean, why not say like, in this formula, I am the best, like hands down. There's nothing you can say about that. So I mean, he still has the rights to say it, but every other formula, I guess, is mine.
Yeah.
That's something you have to be willing to sacrifice to be that big and lift that much heavy. Like me, I can't push that amount of weight, even I want to so much. Like I never compare myself to people in my weight class. I've always said that. I always like, if a human being can do it, why not just try to do it? But I just know physically it's impossible for me to squat 1,000 pounds. It's just I just wouldn't be able to do it. My body can't handle all that mass. So yeah, that's just the things that we just have. Like he has all the weight. I have a majority of the formulas. Like that's just something you have to. It's a give and take type thing. That's why I say it's always different with his meat and my meat. Like you can't compare the two really. Like because we're literally two different opposite ends of the spectrum. You have a guy that's super heavyweight, and you have someone that's kind of on the medium to lightweight side. Like I'm not gonna be able to lift that much weight, but the weight that I am pushing is still a lot of weight for my size.
100%. So a lot of times, unless you have that super showdown, it's difficult for people to like when they look back. You don't get the full kudos unless you have that super showdown. Obviously, like you said, the potential for Russ at World Games absolutely bonkers. Do you think if you achieve these goals, not only in terms of you have an era and this era is yours, what are we talking about all-time greatness? Could you establish yourself as the GOAT?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's all I've ever wanted in the sport is to try and be the best. Like when I say I've sacrificed a lot or I put everything on it, it was one point where I was gonna say that I wanted to quit. I wanted to just do football like in high school, but I'm so happy that I took this route and didn't pursue football because like for people who don't realize this, football is like it's only a certain amount of people that can play it. But literally everyone can do powerlifting. Like
Right.
anyone, any size, any gender, you can do powerlifting. Anywhere you are, you can do it. So it's a better chance of me being better at something that a lot of people can do than just I don't know how many people are in NFL, but let's just say like 500 to 1,000 people only doing this one sport that you make a lot of money. And same thing for basketball as well. Like those two sports they just have more viewership, and so people just think it's better and compare it. But if you put something into something else, like an individual sport like track, powerlifting, swimming, and you go all into it, like you can do it. You know, I do have another quote.
Let's
I'm
hear it.
glad what's up. LeBron James says people use discipline so loosely, and he said if you have to be great, you have to sacrifice loved ones, and he doesn't mean like them, sacrifice them, but he means the time that you spend with your loved ones. And when I say I've put so much into this, there's been so many like Christmases that I haven't went home because there's not the type of equipment that I need to train on. Like that's how dedicated I am to this. So I'm like, yeah, like I can't go back to Mississippi because the nearest powerlifting gym is 3 hours south or 3 hours north of me. And I'm not going to drive every day 3 hours to the gym. Like,
Right.
it's just realistic. And I refuse to miss out when I'm like, usually whenever that time is, it would be a meet was around that time. So USAPL Nationals was around that time. So I didn't have time to go home for like Thanksgiving or Christmas. So like I miss stuff like that. So all my friends, if they do listen to this, I will say I apologize because like lately, I don't hang out with anyone. Like I wake up in the morning, I eat what I need to eat. I do my work for my clients and stuff like that. I do the editing that I need. I go and train. And then by the time I get done training, I'm gassed. I sit down, I eat, And then I finish more programming if I need to, talk to my clients, and that's all I do every day. And then the free time that I do have that I'm not doing, I don't have clients or I don't train that day, I try to spend with my fiance because those are the only times that we really have because she has class and work as well. So I understand that. You just have, there's a lot of things. If you want to be great and want to be that best, you have to be able to make those sacrifices. And I'm just 100% willing to make those sacrifices. So don't think that if I don't text you back or don't message you, it's because I don't consider you a friend anymore. It's just that as of right now, I'm just so focused on achieving this goal of becoming a world champion and a Sheffield champion that everything else is honestly on the backside of everything. Like I will get to you, I will do everything that I need to do, but I have to supply for my family, me and my fiance, and I have to literally do the things that I want to do, and I want to be the greatest. So I have to sacrifice that time. I have to. It's just something in me. I think maybe my dad had a problem, like not a problem, but did this to me in a type of way because I've always played sports. I've always been competitive. As young as I can remember, I think 5 years old, I was playing soccer. He was trying to get me ready footwork wise for football. Got to football, started playing football. He wanted to make me stronger and faster. I did track and powerlifting at the same time. And then I got to the point and I was like, I can't handle football, track, and powerlifting. So I'm just gonna cut the track out. Cut the track out, did powerlifting and football. I wanted to play football, so that I wasn't gonna be able to be the best at football. So I dropped that and I went to powerlifting. I've been on a grind ever since, man. I think the longest, like I think we talked about this last time, the longest time off I've had for powerlifting, not training, is my hernia surgery. And that
Yeah.
was, I think, 3 or 4 months. Other than that, every single day since 2013, I've been in the gym at least 4 to 5 days a week. Ever since 2019, I've been in there every day. It's just
10
something.
year 10 years, dude. People think like, oh, he's emerging right now. This is 10 years of work.
Yeah, this is like me being built up, having the athletic background to it, actually believe, like having to figure out how to believe in myself, having to put in all the hours, figure out what works best for me, leverages wise. Like this has been accumulation of everything everyone has ever taught me and has ever put into everything and helped me along the way. From the first person that got me into USAPL powerlifting, Jim Battenfield, to Joe Stanek, who has helped me achieve the 850 total. Like everything in between has, the 12 to 10 years has been because of this.
How long do you think you could keep this up in terms of like the focus, the intensity, the all in, the body holding up? And well, let's do that first. Then I'll have a follow-up question.
To be honest, as long as I can stay healthy with like the only things that I have that are pain wise is if I stop lifting for a while and I go back to lifting, I have a lower back pump and it doesn't like it hurts, but it kind of me lift weights. It makes everything more challenging when I'm lifting. That's really it. It doesn't hurt. It's just to like, can you hear me still?
We
Oh.
we did a quick pause once. Okay, sorry, you were saying small injuries you have.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I have the lower back thing that it literally just, it doesn't hurt, but it hinders like depth sometimes and trying to figure out positioning on deadlift, and I can't arch as much. Those are the things, but that's only whenever I take a week off after training, and then that occurs or it flares up, then I'll be fine like a week after that. I think it's just like literally it's I'm sore. I have a little bit of a knee pain on the right side, but that goes away if I prioritize warming up more with doing like wall sits and stuff like that and getting more blood flow into it before I go to the gym instead of just going into the gym then trying to start getting the blood flowing into it. Like I still do my stretches, but if I do stretches like an hour before I train, then the knee pain doesn't bother as much, and it doesn't hurt when I squat as well. It just hurts whenever I'm walking around, so it doesn't hinder anything in the squat, thankfully. And then I had a hip injury for a little while, like whenever I totaled the 825, I had like a hip injury, like that kind of like it was irritating. I couldn't get down completely on one side, but that's been gone since I think Raw Nationals. I'm pretty sure.
What was that? Was it like an impingement or what was that?
I never even got it like figured out. I just was I worked with a manual therapist and a physical therapist at game day. My manual therapist is Andrew Tran. Shout out to him. Um, But yeah, it was just like something I just worked on. I just got better all of a sudden. So I guess it just wasn't it was just like a minor ache or something like that, I guess. I might have been because of the A7 belt I was wearing, would dig into it sometimes. And that's also why I moved the belt up with the SBD. I don't want it to hit my thigh or my hips. It's just, I don't know. I think that's what it mainly was. But no, yeah, I think as long as I'm doing the same things over and over, me and Joe have a formula like basically figured out with training wise that works. We haven't changed anything in over a year and a half now. Really, bench is something that we kind of change from block to block just to make sure like I don't have any, because I bench so much now that I get like elbow tendonitis from benching so much. But whenever like I taper off everything, end of the block, it just goes automatically away. It's just because I would Larson press twice a week and then low bar 3 times a week, and my elbow was just taking, and then doing dips as well. Elbow was just taking too much of a beating. So we fixed that problem. Everything else, squat and deadlift, we've ran for almost a year and a half now. As long as I'm like eating well, everything goes well, nothing really changing life wise. I prioritize my clients the same amount. I keep the small roster that I have. So like literally most of my money used to come from coaching, but now it's like powerlifting related things. So now I can say that I'm actually like my primary job is being a powerlifter, which I love, kind of like content creation / powerlifting. But no, yeah, man. I mean, my fiance takes care of me. She knows what I need. I never take
She's a
any.
power lifter as well, so
She is, yeah, she is a powerlifter as well. We met in college. Like she got a scholarship to Midland University as well, which I will say the one thing she has over me is her scholarship was more than mine.
oh damn.
And I make fun of her all the time for it. I was like, well, yeah, I just sucked in college. I mean, he was like, yeah, you did. I'm sorry. But no, yeah, everything's good. I'm eating right. I'm eating better now. Focus on that nutrition wise. Whenever I do get enough protein in, my body feels amazing. Whenever I slack on it, it kind of draws it back a little bit. But no, man, everything's great. I think we can do this for probably another 10 to 15 years.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
like what made me be like, I might kind of want to pull back. Because remember, we had this conversation and I said I wanted to quit.
Yeah. So, but I know it's a moving target. This is why I asked you again. It's always a moving target. The way you
Mhm.
feel now is different at 30, different at 35. And look, I remember freaking, I've had plenty of lifters on who were like, maybe my last year, maybe my last 2 years. 2 years go by and they're like, nah, fuck that. We're making another push. Things change.
Mhm.
Or you've been in it, and after a few years of being in it, you're like, I'm getting a little burnt out. I think we're good. I want to move forward in life. Who knows how you feel when you have a kid and things happen? I don't know. It's always a moving target.
Yeah. So
Um,
what the thing what did with me was show. If she keep getting better at that 33 to 35 range and have a kid and
yeah,
have a job,
yeah,
why can't I? That's the whole
right.
point of it. Like I see other people doing it. Why can't I just do it? And my fiance says this as well. She was like, we listened to some podcast, and I'm pretty sure it was Jern's podcast, and they were like, yeah, like we're just waiting on Perk to just have a baby because everything changes. And she's like, she heard that and she was like, what does us having a baby have to do with anything? I have to carry it for 9 months. Like you might have to deal with my attitude every once in a while or help me. But other than that, though, you're still going to the gym and training. Like I'm still gonna go to the gym and train too until I can't.
Yeah,
And then she's like, when we have a kid, I mean, literally, you don't have a job you have to go into. You work from home. You can just stay home with the kid, and then if whenever you need to go train, you can go train. And by that time, we should have a house. You can literally be like, Shell, go train in the basement. We can bring the kid down to the basement and train.
100%.
Like
Well, listen,
there's
I'm
things you can do
surprised.
to get around it.
I'm surprised Jurin said that. Jurin's has a full-time job, kids, mid-30s, hitting PRs. He's hitting PRs. Shell, Jonathan Garcia, who just 66 unofficially broke the world record, literally just had a baby, mid 30s, come back from injuries. It's happened time and time again. Even like women who have to carry the babies, like Jen Thompson, 50 years old, hitting PRs on bench and doing everything she's doing, and literally carried the kids herself and the whole nine. Like we have tons of data points that it gets tough. I'm not saying it won't be tough, but you
Exactly.
can work around it, especially this day and age. If you work, you're your own boss. You set your own hours. You can move your weightlifting to whatever, accommodate. You'll be all right. You can make it work.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm not really worried. I think I can do this as long as I'm able to do this, I'm going to. I see a lot of young guns coming up that are actually like, there's this one kid. Uh, I'll wait till you find him because I don't think you've seen him yet because I haven't reposted his stuff. Because if you would, you would be like, Perk
Really?
might
You send it to me in
Perk
DM.
might have some trouble. Oh my god, you're gonna post him, he's gonna forget all about me. I'm calling it here. I'm calling it here. He's gonna move me on and be like, hey, because this when I say this kid's strong, this kid he just hit, I think 272 and a half for three, 17 years old, 74.
Whoa, damn.
I wasn't hitting it that young. That's why I'm like his bench isn't all the way there, but it's still pretty good though. I think it's around like the 170 to 180 range.
Holy
And
shit.
then I think he did just pull 290 for three on deadlift as well at 74.
Is he American?
Yes, he's American.
Oh my god. Perk.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, I see these young guns coming up, and I'm like, dang, I'm like, all right, I guess I just got to kick it into the next gear. Like they're coming. There is no stopping it. Like if I came about, there's probably someone else that has probably grown up the same way or a different way and wants the exact same thing. And why not go and seize it if you want it that bad? Because I tell my fiance that too all the time. It's all about who wants it more, and I believe that. And I just feel like people might want it a lot. Like you might want this so much, but I just want this more. There's something in my head that just wants this more than everyone else. And I just keep pushing it. I won't stop until someone either sits me down or I have to have this hernia injury, which wasn't my fault. It was genetic. But like, until something like that happens, I'm going to run myself into the ground. Like I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to run through the wall. If there's a wall there, I'm going to run through it. Like I figured out the confidence thing. I figured out the formula that works. If something needs to be changed, I'll adapt to it. And all I can say is let them come. Like I'm
Dog, I shit you not. I was just about to say that quote. Do you remember when there was all this hype about all these 83s? I mean, there's a shitload of 83s coming up the ranks. And Russ posted a pic, and all the caption said was, let them come. Let them come.
literally like this. I mean, I can't run from it. Like there's that Thanos quote too. It's like run from it, hide from it. Destiny comes all the same.
Yeah.
Literally, it comes all the same. I might as well just keep pushing. I'm not gonna be scared and be like, well, I hope they don't catch up. I just have to keep pushing and just if they do catch up, just do what I can do on that day. But I'm just gonna keep like I told him that to the kid. I've messaged him and everything, and I'm just like, bro, it's crazy. He already hit 275 in comp too, so he's hitting my junior world record squat that only.
What's this kid's name? What's this kid's name?
His name is Elliot Sykes.
Okay, I've heard of him.
Yeah, kids crazy. Like I don't know if it'll translate over to the IPF. We'll see. But I mean, I don't pray on anyone's downfall. Like I said, let them come. But he has a bright future. But him being 17 as well, I think he'll eventually end up going up probably when he gets to around that because he's 17. He's gonna keep growing. There's no way
But you've been a 74 forever, no?
That's true. I was a light 74 though. I didn't start 2019 was when I went to Midland and I was still like I was like 71 kilos. I was weighing in like 70.
Okay.
I think he's like cutting down to 74. Not like a huge cut, but like a decent size cut. Like he probably could stay around it, but I would see him probably going up. He's coached by Sean Noriega, by the way. So he says he has a good coach as well. So
it's the thing with powerlifting, the weight classes are massive. Like for instance, 83 to 93, we're talking about Russ, 10 kilos is 22 pounds. And if you're a guy, like sometimes your natural optimum body weight will rest in the middle between two, like a lot of people's will rest in the middle between two weight classes. And you're like, well, I either cut too much and greatly depreciate what I could do in the gym if I'm floating around the middle, or I bulk, but I'll be way smaller than everyone else because you're a betweener. And 83, 93 is big. 93 to 105 is 12 kilos. We're talking like 26, 27 pounds. Like that's insane a difference in weight classes.
Yeah. It's just crazy to see people. And then you got Joe Bordenstein too, that he's coming up. I'll just tell the 83s to watch out because that kid, he's
gonna be a problem.
he got some dog in him. That kid, Joe's like, if he wants something too, he's gonna go get it. Like he
Yeah.
wants the 800 kilo total, he got it. Like, and then I think he's like he fluctuates. He's between that like that 74, 83 range, like you were just talking about, and he'll do great at 83s. Like he'll probably pull. I wouldn't be surprised if he one day soon, within the next 2 or 3 years, he has the world record for deadlift in the 83. I know it's huge. I wouldn't put it
There's
past Joe.
Enahoro.
Yeah, I don't put as long as he doesn't keep going like higher, like by like taking 5 to 10 kilo jumps on it. I think Joe Bornstein might can. I feel like they can pull anything. I don't know what it is. Like I said, maybe I have so much faith in my competitors, but I feel like Bornstein can pull a freaking house, man. Like
Here's
if
the
he
thing.
wanted to, he could pull 1,000. Lightest man to pull 1,000. I wouldn't put it past him.
It just the 83s, like Nick Manners and Enahoro both pull over 800 pounds as 83s, which is crazy. And Enahoro damn near locked out 847. 847 pounds of 80. These 83s are wilding out when it comes to the deadlifts.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
man,
feel, I feel bad for
Joe's
Russ
young.
for the deadlift world record.
Yeah, no, that's a wrap. There's that record's just straight up out of the way. Um, do you feel like now you've personality wise developed into who you are now in front of everybody else? Like, how in terms of how you carry yourself, is it any different now that you've entered your prime and you are who you are? Because I think you're way more humble than a lot of people might be if they were in your shoes. Um, what do you think though? Do you think you get called bold by some people?
Yeah, I heard Shell's podcast. So I think it was on Juren's podcast. Whenever Shell was talking, he was like, or no, it might have been on your podcast actually. It might
Might
have
have
been
been.
Cliff's. He was just like, yeah, no one would do that over here in Norway. So I think literally other countries, I think Americans can be boastful. I think that's what it is. And I don't do it to cause attention at meets. I hope people don't think that. Like if you came to the gym and just watched me train, like I would do the exact same things. Like I get up, I just have that more of a animated attitude, I guess I would say. And it's not to be cocky. I hate that some people think that it's me just trying to be cocky. It's not. That's just who I am. I like to dance around, like have a good beat. I love like I'm a big music guy. I love listening to music. So like music determines my vibe. So if I'm listening to like a hyped up like let's say electronic type thing or a alternative type music, I'm gonna have that like little pop step to me. And on the live stream, you can see like right before my attempts, I would just be rapping, and I have like this such a serious face is because I literally listen to the words, and certain songs are just like, this is how I feel right now. And I'll change, like some people whenever they listen to music, they take the lyrics as they come, and they'll be like, oh, this is what the person means this way, or they're talking about someone in this way. I'll just change it in my head to make it mean whatever it needs for me to be motivated. Like it can be a song about a girl and about leaving him, and I'll be like, man, I can't believe this man left the weight class already, man. Like I still want this
Oh
back. Like
shit.
like I'm doing stuff like that just to like get into that mindset. Like I told you that the atmosphere that I need to be in time of competition. But no, yeah, man. I think this is probably my attitude the whole time. I feel like I'm pretty humble. People that I've met, like I don't even talk about my powerlifting achievements. That's one thing that I hate. Oh my gosh, like it just makes me feel so like please don't look at me, please don't look at me. Like whenever we're somewhere and I'm with my grandfather, you met my grandfather.
Oh, dude, your grandpa, first off, is your PR agent. I'm walking by the platform, everything's over, and I hear six pack. And I look over, and there's your grandpa, 70-year-old man calling me six pack. I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm Austin Perkins' grandfather. First off, he looks young for 70. But
Yeah.
dude, he was talking about podcasts from 2019 when I had all four of you on. He remembered them all. If there's another 74 on King of the Lifts, he's listening to it. If there's a debate about who's the greatest, who had the greatest performance, he's listening to it. My man is so all in with you in your career. It's amazing.
Yeah, he always tells me he's like you have the best grandfather, right? The coolest granddad. It's like he's like I wake up in the morning, I grab my iPad and I see what you posted. I look at it,
Really?
I watch it, I compare it. He's like he has like spreadsheets on other competitors. Like
Oh shit!
he'll track their
What?
numbers in training. Like, and if someone isn't doing good, like
He knows.
whenever Ricky left the powerlifting, he was like, "Well, Ricky's gone. Time to unfollow him." He'll text me and let me know. He's like, "Unfollowed."
What?
He's like Michael C isn't competing with you anymore. Unfollowed. He's like, "Oh, who's this deadlift Miyagi guy I see?"
No
Follow. Like he's
shit,
just
dude.
like he's on top of his stuff. But yeah, that he's just so like proud of me. Anywhere he goes or we go together, he'll let someone know. Like we're over here, we walk to his hotel and we're trying to get an Uber somewhere from wherever in PLA Nats. And he goes up to the receptionist desk or the desk the receptionist desk. And then he's like, "Yeah, you see my grandson over there?" He's like, "First lightest man to squat 700. Random, doesn't know who they are. Random person. We're at a
You're
restaurant.
like
He's like,
Grandpa, please.
we're at a restaurant and he's like, he'll look up at the person. He's an old man too.
Oh,
Old man. He's just like, my grandson right here multiple times.
oh,
I'm just like, I'm like, Papa, this man does not care. He just wants to service this food and go about his day.
it's
And it's like
amazing.
my fiance gets mad at me too. She's like, whenever I went and trained before and we were at the gym training at in Reno, this guy was watching me hit my last few squats. I think I was squatting like 240 to 220 or something like that. And he was like, it's like this older guy. He's powerlifts, but he's probably not on social media, so he doesn't know me. And he's like you're really strong. You competing this weekend? I'm like, yeah, I'm competing this weekend. And he's like, oh, like you're looking pretty strong and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, I hope to have a pretty good day tomorrow. Like I'm not talking about what I'm gonna hit or anything. I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, just like that. And then he walks away. He's like, oh, like he's like, good job today. Like, kill it tomorrow. I'll be watching tomorrow. And my fiance hits me, and she's like, how come you never say anything? Like, people come to you and they talk to you and they're like giving you congratulations. You're not even like you could have at least told him like you're gonna try to squat 700 tomorrow. And I was like, like it really doesn't matter. Like he'll see if he sees it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. Like it
Dude,
is what.
if he saw it and then ran into you afterwards, he'd be like, dude, holy shit. Why didn't you tell me? Whoa. He's like, oh
Yeah,
my God.
it's just like I think I was just raised that way. My grandmother just raised me to be that way. Very, very humble, Southern Mississippi boy, small town. Like yeah, you just there was really nothing really just to be cocky about anyway when I was just younger, but she just always taught me that way, just to give people their respects. Like one thing that I always do and I hold myself to is whenever someone's like, hey, like you're Austin Perkins, it's nice to meet you and stuff like that. Like even if they're like giving me all these praises and stuff like that, and don't let me get a word in to say anything, I always after or before I always introduce myself and I'm just like, what's your name? Like tell me your name. You never told me your name. You're just over
Yeah,
here
yeah.
just giving me all this praise saying you want to take a picture and all this stuff. Will you sign this? Will you do this? Like advice is like, bro, like introduce yourself to me. Like I want to know who you are. Like, because like I didn't just come for everything. I've just always been this good. Like I just got this good. Like I still want to interact with people. I'm still normal. Like I might squat this infinite amount of weight or lift this certain amount of weight, but like I mean I still bleed the same thing you bleed, man. Like I want to know about you. Like, what got you into this? Like, there's one guy, I don't know his name right now. I apologize if you're listening to this and I forgot your name, but he'll know. He came up to me and he was just like, he was like, hey man, like, I just want to say I appreciate everything you've done, like for the smaller guys and people that are from a smaller town, because it's like you don't have much when you're from a small town population of I don't know, like 8,000, 10,000 or something like that. Just small town, smaller than that. I don't know what a small population is, but like I'm from Mississippi, all towns are small in Mississippi. Like there is no like Austin, Texas, where there's like people everywhere at all times. You walk into a store, more than likely it's gonna be empty in Mississippi. Uh,
Mm.
this guy is just like, yeah, I appreciate you for everything you do. Like you showed me that like literally anything is possible, and you just have to keep going. Like as of right now, you might not be the best that you want to be, but one day, as long as you keep pushing, you'll find that breakthrough sooner or later. And it's just it feels better hearing that from someone who's from a small place and not like a huge place where they have these endless amount of possibilities and endless amount of help that could get. Like whenever I was started powerlifting in high school, I had no program. I had a coach, but he was just like, oh, well, you're strong enough, just do what you need to do. And I was like maxing out on squat every day, maxing out on deadlift every day, like barely benching once a week. Like I was doing all this other stuff. And it's like I just worked my way up, like we talked about earlier, to these other things. And it's finally like all the people that I've met throughout these 10 to 12 years have just helped me on something, and it's helped me become the person I am today. So Yeah, man. For all those people that just think that they need help or they can't do it, man. I just feel like I'm a living, breathing thing that I might have the genetics as well, but even if you have the genetics and you don't work hard towards something, you're not going to get to your maximum capability.
Well, 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
10 years. 10 years to get the 1 year that changed everything. That's what people don't necessarily they see the last year and they're
Yep.
like, "Oh my god, like he's the king." 10 years in the making to get there though. Like a
Yep.
lifetime. Your whole adult life has been this.
Yeah, like you literally in 2021, majority of everyone right now who is just like he's on the top, all of this stuff, probably said right after that meet that Taylor had that I would never catch up to him. They
Yeah.
probably they were like, this man's unstoppable. He just hit like we all know it. Like he hit 838, and everyone was like, how did he hit 838? When I think even the 83 world record total was only like 840 or something around there. So
Yeah.
he's literally right there.
He missed
So
one bench on a command. He gave it away by accident.
yep, exactly. So it's like no one thought it back then, and now everyone's like, oh well, like he's good, he's made it. Like there's no one could be, but you just didn't believe in me back then. But now I put in all this work. It's literally all that time, 10 years just to get that one perfect meet. Like that's just what happens. Like super meets don't happen all the time. Like it's not realistic to hit a 10 kilo PR forever on every meet. That's just not gonna happen. You got 20 meets plus, you're not gonna PR every meet. You might PR on a attempt like on a squat bench or deadlift once a meet every once in a while, but a total, you're not gonna see that gradual increase over time. You gotta stick it out, man. You gotta push through it.
And you've had the ups and downs through injuries. Your total went up, your total went down. This is what you get through 10 years. It's not just a full upward scale. And some people, once they start facing some adversity, gut check themselves. And that's
Mhm.
when you get gut checked. Do I really want this? Am I in this for the long haul? And to your point earlier, when you said the way you were on the platform when you're training, the pizzazz you bring, I remember 2019 when Taylor was winning. Didn't matter who was winning, who's doing what. Remember, I was like, man, this guy's like the freaking like Michael Jackson of powerlifting. The way you'd
Yeah.
unclash your belt and back away from the platform, and when you're in your zone and you're vibing on the platform, that's how you carry yourself regardless. It didn't matter if you're first, top five, podium, or whatever, you're gonna carry yourself that way. To your point. Do you want to take a quick 2 minute pee break? We come back. I got like two more questions.
Yeah, we're good. I have a few more things that I just want to talk about on the things anyway. So yeah, we can take a little break. That's fine. That's cool.
All right, let's do a quick pee break. Let's hop back on. Let's keep it moving.
I got you.
Okay, sir.
We're good.
We back, man. We back. Yeah. What were the couple things? I'll jump in after you. But what are the couple things that you wanted to talk about?
Um. Oh, actually, I hit everything except for one thing. So, I can say there's another thing I love talking about. Like I said, one of the podcasts I listen to, which is my favorite ones that I've listened to the whole time I've been listening to King of the Lips, is the one with Gavin. I think it was pre. I'm pretty sure it was pre post Sheffield pre
That dog. That one was fire.
like that wasn't even mainly powerlifting. It was literally just you guys talking about basically like sports things. And I loved it so much. It was so good. But yeah, so the main one that I just got to, this is at the end of it. Um is Gavin's story about being great and with the 10 chairs. And you said, I think this was you when you said that if there's 10 chairs full of people, only one of them can be great. It might have been Gavin, or I think it might have been you. But the point was that basically how many people have the potential to be great. And I think that everyone has the potential, but it comes down to what it's at. Like, not everyone can be just great at a thing like a sports wise, you know. Like some people might be great. Some people might be great at school. You can be able to be the best person in a class, be best person in your profession, best person in the office, get everything done, top of the charts. But it just all starts at the beginning. That's really it. That's all I really want to say is just as long as you start and you go all in on something, it just refers back to our other story with like just being like, I want something from the start. It's about who wants it more. So as long as you want this entire time, I'm pretty sure Deion Sanders said this. There's 3 W's you should always follow. You have to want it, work it, and then win it. So first you have to want it enough, then you have to work at it, and then you'll win it. Without the first two, you're never gonna win it. So as long as you want it enough and then you work it as much as you can, like you'll
Well,
get to.
here's what me and Gavin were talking about. And this is interesting because on the spot, I had to think about this.
Yep.
He was saying everybody has the potential to be great, and I was saying um, everybody can't be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hmm.
Everybody can't be, there can only be, if everyone's in the sport, there can only be one great in that sport. Otherwise, what are you talking about? If everyone's great, then no one's great.
Hmm.
And then it could be said, you have to find your calling for what you're great at. And then I'm like, okay, fair enough. But if you're the greatest janitor of all time, I can say it's because I was a janitor, right? When I was in university. If you're the greatest janitor of all time, is that greatness? And then I don't know, or is that not great? Are we celebrate? I don't want to celebrate mediocrity, right?
Hmm.
But then we kept discussing, me and Gavin. We have these freaking conversations, Perk.
Hmm.
So we kept moving, and then he's like, and we're investigating it on the fly. And this is where, because me and him are super comfortable with each other, so he could challenge my thoughts, and I could challenge his thoughts, and it's an investigate. It's not a debate. So we're investigating this, and then it became okay. Fair enough. Put it this way: his belief is A, no, not everybody's going to be Ali, Jordan, whatever. And yes, not if you're the world's greatest server, is that greatness? But he was like, if you continue to do something over and over and over, the repetitions, over and over and over and over, the repetitions. If I told you you were allowed to paint for 1,000 years, you just draw paintings. Are you telling me you're not going to get better, 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 better every time you just keep coming up? Of course. It's just time is the mitigating factor of
Yep.
getting there. But you have the potential. Yes, you do. Now, how much of your life can you sacrifice to make it instead of 1,000 years? It's tighter, tighter, tighter because you put more and more of your life into it. Now it becomes timing. And we started talking about, for instance, Vin Diesel. And somehow we got into this. And it was Vin Diesel is not Leonardo DiCaprio, but he is Vin Diesel because he was in the room at the right moment with Steven Spielberg, who's one of the greatest movie creators of our time, and met Vin Diesel and was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to write you into Saving Private Ryan, an all-time great movie." And then from there, he just wrote in a character being like, "There's something about you that I'm intrigued." Made up a character, made up lines, put him in the movie, and from there on out, Vin Diesel ended up doing what he's doing. Right place, right time.
Yep.
So then it also became in your lifetime, you might not end up in an elevator with Steven Spielberg. But if you live to be infinity, eventually, yes, you're going. If time was not the factor and
Hmm.
this went on forever, eventually you will find your spot in which, oh my God, I'm in the same room as someone else, and your moment happens.
Yep.
And all you need to know in this life, you don't live forever. But all you need to know in this life, it is a possibility. It can and might happen. It's
You
all,
can't think. You literally cannot think what if. You have to think why not me? And I
yeah,
live why not me? Like it could be anybody. It literally could be anybody. Anybody could be able to do this one thing. Why can't it be me? Why can't I go and be the best 74? Why can't I go and be the best pound for pound lifter? That's what just kept me going. Like, why not? Like it's if it's possible, like why not? And I just put in the years, like we said. That's all it takes. It's and it's time too. If you don't start early, you only got a limited amount of time. That's the only limiting factor of anything of us, at least. It's just one day you're gonna run out of time. One day is just gonna everything's gonna peak off and taper off, and there's nothing you can do about it. So why not seize the one while you can take it? Keep trying.
and another thing is too, um, you can have greatness. Greatness is difficult to get to hammer down. For instance, like the Rocky story, you could be the greatest version of you, like the original movie Rocky, the original Rocky from 1976. if I don't know how many people, everyone knows Rocky. I don't know how many people actually watched the original Rocky though. There's all these other renditions now that are out, but in the original Rocky, that movie won an Oscar, an Academy Award for the screenplay. Rocky does not win the final fight. Spoiler
Nope.
alert. He doesn't win the final fight. The whole point, though, he achieved greatness by like everyone was super inspired because he rose to the occasion and proved he belonged in the ring with the champ. And that's like you will, while striving and reaching and believing in yourself, you will achieve far more out of life with that perspective. Even if you don't end up being Muhammad Ali, you're going to be, you could be the next Rocky story where everyone's inspired and everyone remembers how you made them feel when they see you reach that beyond what you said, beyond the numbers you hit, beyond whatever sport it is. They'll remember how you made them feel on that day. And that is your everlasting greatness as well. Greatness is a tough thing to nail down. If anyone had a Rocky moment, that's greatness. But you're not the greatest of all time like Muhammad Ali. But it doesn't matter. In that day, you had your day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so anyways, it's a romanticized view. I get it, but it's just life perspective. You're gonna achieve far more if you walk towards everything with that in mind and
Yep.
just being ready for your Steven Spielberg moment when you're in that room. And it's putting your reps in and doing everything you can.
Seize the
But
moment. Seize the moment. That's all you can do.
yeah, and Gavin's a perfect example where Gavin's like, dog, I keep losing. He says it. He's like, I keep losing. But everyone looks to Gavin like, yeah, but you've achieved so much. Keep coming up with the scratch. Look at all the life experience he's had in the last 2 years. It's been the wildest.
Yeah,
Who
bro. Like he has made it through. Me and my fiance talk about that. She's a big Gavin Aiden friend. She's always like,
same.
I told her whenever I saw him, I was like, my fiance was like, you got the third squad. She was like, finally, yes. And then you missed the bench, and she was like, oh my god.
I know. If one shoe falls, the other shoe fits on the foot. It's like
Yeah, but he's no, yeah, he's like Gavin's literally just made it like through like any way he's can. He's just scraped by and he's made it. He's that person that grind and grit will get through it. Like he's
yeah.
like, oh well, I'm gonna still pushing and give it my all. Makes it as their alternate for the world team. Boom, goes the world. Boom, makes their alternate for the
Yeah, Sheffield. Yeah.
Sheffield. And then the next year, Taylor's like, like, nah, I'm good. Gavin gets a spot again. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like this man just, hey, he's gonna seize that moment, and whenever he does, he takes advantage of it.
Seize the moment. That's the number one thing is just seize the moment. Inner belief in seizing the moment is like so underrated. And how you make things happen and having that crazy belief. Who was like your sports idol or just period idol, period?
To be honest, right now, it's becoming Kobe Bryant. Like I've always loved the way Kobe Bryant played, and then my mother was a big Lakers fan, so I was around like Lakers stuff all the time. She always wanted to watch a Laker game every once in a while, something like that. But just lately, like the mindset, I never understood like the Mamba mindset until I started listening to more like podcasts and interviews from him and stuff that he said and like how he is. One of them that just stuck with me was whenever like they're on they have the world's team. I think it's like the world's dream team actually.
Yeah.
And the guys are interviewing him about him. There was like, yeah, like he's just like, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run straight through Pau Gasol to show you guys like
And that was his teammate, wasn't it?
yeah, it was his teammate. His teammate on the Lakers. He was like, everyone was like, nah, like he's not about to run through Paul. Like Paul's his brother, like comes over, spends time with his family, like all this stuff. First play, you see it, freaking run straight through him, puts Paul Gasol on his ass.
Yeah.
And Paul was like, shit, I didn't know it was coming, but I just know like Kobe's a competitor. And he's gonna show you that no matter what, he's gonna be on top. And I just love that. Like his passion, everything he said, he's like, if you want more time, you gotta wake up earlier. He's like 6 he's like, you usually wake up at 8 a.m., start training, doing this. He's like, no, I'll wake up at 5 a.m., start have breakfast, go train. By 8 a.m., I'm on my second practice while you're on your first practice. I'm like, hey, this man is getting it done. So as of right now, like mentality wise, I feel like Kobe's like my idol. But other than that, though, I really didn't have anyone that's. I hate to say it, I'm not gonna talk about it, but I watch anime, and so like the stories I learn from anime, I'll take stuff like that. Like my favorite anime, I won't say what it is, but people will know. It's just about this kid. He grows up, superhero world. Everyone has powers of some sort. Not everyone is superheroes, but everyone has powers. He's born without powers. It's like a 2% chance that it happens. He does that. He doesn't have any powers, and then all of a sudden he still tries to save this person without powers. And the number one person with the best power ever, I guess you could say, just the number one hero comes, and he's like, "You too can become a hero. You might have started from nothing, but you too can become a hero." And he passes on the torch to his power to him. And he's
Mm.
determined that he becomes, it's like the story about how he becomes the number one hero in it. And I guess you can probably see where that comes from and why I like it so much. But
Yeah,
yeah, I feel like I came from Mississippi, nothing. Taylor, big guy, huge, no one could beat him. I saw this hero figure to me. And then it was just like, here you go. Like the next person up. You too. He showed me that you can just start doing it and just pass on. That's why I like the story so much.
it is a cool story that everybody has superpowers except for you. And a lot of people will look at that being like, well, that sets me up to take an L. No, that sets you up to be something special if you could pull
Yep.
something off. It actually is a better story now.
That's
You're
like
set up.
the story behind it's amazing. People might not like the anime thing, but the story behind it is just seeing like a kid that came from nothing just go and progress and put in all the work. Like his body couldn't even handle the power because it was something he's never had before. So he didn't know how to use it. It wasn't like an overnight thing. Like he's still trying to figure it out. This show has been out for like I think like 6-7 years now. He's still not at the top of his game. 6 years of this shit, and he's still like trying to figure it out. Like it just takes time. You just got to go day to day, day to day, day to day. Try figure out the small things, and then you'll get it.
I also like a story about Kobe. Exactly what you're saying. Where a teammate that was on, I think it was the U.S. is the Dream Team because the Dream Team came through, won, and it had Jordan and all those guys. Then the Dream Team progressed, and the U.S. kept sending their Dream Teams to the Olympics, and they started taking L's.
Mm-hmm.
They started taking L's, which is insane. Never should have happened. They couldn't believe they were taking L's. And then Kobe's like, I'm coming. Because I think he literally said, I'm tired of watching you guys lose.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, this America doesn't come in second for basketball at the Olympics. And one of the guys knew that Kobe was coming onto the U.S. national team, and they were all in the athlete compounds. And the guy was like, I need to up my game like Kobe. So he woke up early-ish, like their team practice was at 9, and he was like, I'm gonna get there at like 8 and get there an hour early so that I could get the jump on this to be
Mm-hmm.
like Kobe. And he showed up at 8 o'clock and he saw Kobe in his warm-up suit. And he was like, see, dog, I'm on your level. I'm like you. Let's do this together. And Kobe's like, excuse me, I'm leaving. I already got it in.
Yep.
And that's when he was like,
He's like,
oh,
I've already been here.
yeah,
I've been here
yeah,
for 3 hours.
yeah. He's like, what? Same level, dog. I'm warming down. I'll be back at 9. Thank you. That'll be number 2 for me. You. He's like, and the guy's like, damn it, man. There was just levels to Kobe. Kobe has become. There's something about when the world loses somebody, they almost become myth, legend. I don't know, but the stories get even greater. I don't know what it is. I know what you mean. Where I find like certain people, you don't even have to necessarily lose them. Because like Mike Tyson, for instance, for me, he later in life, because he transformed into more philosophical, the way he talks, the way he carries himself in his like 40s, 50s, etc. And it changed and it softened and showed more layers to him. And I became more enamored by him. And then he became more of an idol to me with that kind of stuff. Still, there's he's done a lot of shit in his past that I can't, it's weird. Same with Kobe and Jordan. When you hear about them, but if you talk to teammates from their era, some of these guys, like, man, you couldn't be friends with them. You couldn't be. It's such a weird dichotomy where you're like you could idolize them, but you actually, if you were there on their team, you wouldn't like them, and
Yep.
they would be fine with that. As a matter of fact, it might be better, and it would be. And I've heard Kobe talk, and to extent maybe guys who reach Kobe's level all end up like this. Mike Tyson said openly, I became a megalomaniac, like a narcissist where I thought I was God.
Mhm.
And it proved him well for sports, but in other things in life, he treated people like that, and he says openly, like I was terrible. And he said jail humbled him, and he's
Mhm.
like, I was actually at my best in jail because it humbled me, and I needed to be humbled. But I remember seeing documentaries of Kobe's like, I know what I need to do. I need to make these guys 12 Kobe's, and then we're gonna win. But that's how we viewed it. Like, but if you were to sit down in a room and be like, I need to turn you guys into me, and that's how we're gonna like that, you would be like, dude, I can't stand to be in a room with you. Why are you talking like that? Like, you couldn't be that close because but this is Jordan says to people, you think you want to be like Mike, be like me. He's like, you don't want to be like me. I'm never happy because I'm never satisfied.
Oh my God, I've said that so many. That's one time. Um, I was with my fiance, and I was just having like a bad mental day, and I was just like, because I wanted it so bad, and I was just like, I think I had messed up or had failed something that day. It was like a while ago. I think I had failed a bench or something, and I was like, it's just getting so frustrated because like my bench was finally like going up, and then it stopped, and I was just like, I promise you, I don't wish this on any person. Like my mom says it about my dad too, because my dad has won like I think like 12 to 13, 14 like state track championships. He just keeps winning. And she's like, why don't you just stop and like retire? Go do something else, like go do a college sport or something, like make it challenging. He's like, no, like I just can't stop. And it's literally I understand that. Like you don't wish this upon any other person because you're never satisfied. There's nothing that's enough. You keep trying. Whenever you can't get to that point that you want to be, you get frustrated for that little while, and it's draining mentally. Like I always say the hardest part of the meet isn't lifting the weight. It's mentally the preparation, getting ready for the weight. Like I think I might have told myself over 1,000 times I was gonna squat 318 the day before until I squatted it. Like I just kept saying it over and over and over and over and over in my head because I was just like I was just stressing for a while, and I was just like I would have like breakouts on my face. Couldn't sleep nights and stuff like that just because it's like at some points it's just like you don't know if you put in all the work and you know you've got it done, but then there's that small part of like what if something goes wrong where it's like not out of your control. I could squat it and get it, and maybe the one judge would say it's high, and then it'll get overturned by the jury or something. Like you just never know. Like it could be out of your hands sometimes. And those are the things that I fixate on like the most is like the out of things that I don't have in my control.
Mm.
And yeah, just sitting there and just being like, yeah, you don't want this headspace. You might want to be the best, but you don't want to what you have to go through to be that best. Like it's a lot. It's physically draining, but it's even more mentally draining.
Jesus Oliveras actually had a moment after Sheffield, the second Sheffield event, where he actually talked about because he didn't have the day he wanted. He had a
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal day, didn't have the day he wanted. And he said the victory of winning, the feeling of winning is great, but pales in comparison to what it feels like to lose or in what your mind's eye was a loss.
Yeah.
Pales in it hurts so much more to lose than it does feel good to win. It's not even close. And he said he's just now trying to work this out because he'd been on such a high, right? Like all the worlds, Sheffield after the first Sheffield event, my God, it was insane. The second Sheffield event, he didn't. I mean, his squat event was phenomenal. He gave away a bench by accident. Deadlift, he had to go. He was so far behind, he was going all in at the end. But for him, he said it literally was. He felt sick. Like it's and when you're approaching things like you've said it a million times in your head, you're going to hit that squat. When you finally hit it, for you, was it celebration? Oh my God, I hit it, or because you had told yourself 1,000 times over you're going to hit it, and you finally do? Is it relief, celebration slash relief slash onto the next one already?
Yeah, it's definitely that relief feeling. Like as of right now, I can say my most stressful weeks are always my last week of the blocks because I have to hit that PR on squat, bench, and deadlift. I don't really have that feeling. It's just literally on squat, just because I just feel like it's probably on my back and it could probably almost kill me, and that's probably the reason. But um, Yeah, I just think on squat, those days that I have like my primary squat at the end of the block, I'm always just like, I'm nervous. And then I hit it and it's just like full release, finally, like, oh, it's done. Like I hit it. Like that's the feeling, like the relief feeling is so good. And I'll agree with Jesus. The feeling of losing is 10 times, 100 times worse than the feeling of winning, because like whenever I in 2021 I did lose to Taylor, the time after that was pretty just dark. Like um I just was depressed most of the time. I really didn't take I reconsidered myself once again before, and I was like, damn, like is this something I could really be like the best at? Like he's so far ahead. Like you start questioning everything, especially when it was closer at first and then you drop like what 25 kilo 20 kilos to 15 kilos below your PR. And then he already is past it. So he's ahead of you by like 30, 40, 50 kilos. And then it just gets dark and you're just like, well, I don't know if I can do this. Like, have I wasted all of this time? Like, I'm over here reconsidering things. Like, should I just not even do it anymore? Should I even keep trying? Or should I just be one of those people that just goes and puts powerlifting on the side and just do it just to stay healthy, or just do it just to do it? And then after a while, like I can say it probably didn't change till after I hit the 850, or between that 825 to 850 range. Whenever I started dating my fiance, that's when everything just changed and it got better. And I was on that track of back in the mindset that I could be the best again. But yeah, man, it's just, and then with winning, it's just once you do it, it's like you've done it a few times. Like whenever you hit the milestones, of course, it feels great, but it still is not going to
Yeah.
feel as bad as the times that you lost and you thought you were going to win too. Those are the worst ones, when it's like you're going into it and you think you're going to win and then just straight down. Because I've always talked about, like, no one thought Jesus was going to get what, 11th out of 12th or something
Yeah.
like that.
We
Or
all
yeah,
thought he was going to win.
yeah, exactly. Like, and he probably had the thought process that he was going to win, or at least place top three, of course. And then just to go from that to that is just like, especially when it's your main thing, it's your job, you do it every day, something that you work on, it's just going to take a huge impact on you. So yeah, I can agree. It's just, it sucks. And that's why I never want to feel that feeling again. I guess that's why I put in the work that I do, and go out there and try not to leave anything up to chance. So
That 825 is the first time you put the crown on your head afterwards, I think. And
mhm.
that was the one where I saw a different type of pep in your step. And that was the one where you hadn't hit like surpassed 838.5 yet, but people had to be like, look, we're getting close. And he could. And you were ranked number one. If
Mhm.
you hadn't, not all time, but for that year, you had moved past Taylor that year. Now, circumstances, I forget exactly, like, he wasn't going to break his world record because Sheffield was coming and blah blah blah. But it was, you felt some turning with
Mhm.
you, with the situation, and when you first started doing. Now that's your thing, the putting the crown on your head. Um, is that your thing from here on out, or is this like, nah, it's me taking the crown? Once I got the crown, I'm not going to do it every time, or what do you think?
I mean, I got to do it at Worlds because finally
Oh
it'll be
yeah,
like another one again. And then if I were to win Sheffield, I would do it, but I don't think I
yeah,
would do
because
it
you're the king
with
of
Sheffield.
powerlifting.
But I don't know if I can do it unless I'm that far ahead. Unless I get my last deadlift and it's like Agata and I'm just so far ahead and no one could pull it to get it, then maybe I would do it.
Here's the thing with the Agata thing. Let me throw this out here, because it's not fair to you, and here's why. The IPF good lift points is, there's a men's and women's for a
Mhm.
reason. It's different formulas. It's not fair to compare. It's a different formula altogether. So if you're going to compare, use her numbers and use the men's formula, or use your numbers, use the women's formula, and then see where you're at.
I actually, it's funny. I actually did that because someone asked me what my formula would be if I was the women's. If I totaled 851 at 740 74.25, my IPF points would be 169.
Okay, well, well. And here's another thing. In terms of world records, um, even that's not fair, because the men's side is far more mature as a division. In the women's side, the reason, like some of the men's side, we still have some records that are years old, whereas the women's side, I think every single world record was broken last year within a year except one. Like there's, so it's maturing at a quicker rate because it didn't have the depth for years, didn't have the depth. I'm older. I remember showing up powerlifting competitions. There was 2 women and like 50 men. Now there's still more men, but it's getting closer and closer to parity. So
Mm.
having said that, records on the men's side have been broken and pushed, and it's a more mature in terms of a talent pool. So comparing the two isn't fair to you. I'm just gonna say that you could do it as something to chase, but whether it's using the formula, that's someone else's form. It's not your formula. And if it's records, that's not necessarily, in the women like 10 years time, they're gonna have a hard time as well. It'll be different. But anyways, but more back onto the point where putting the crown on your head. First off, I love it. Like I love that kind of shit. You already know I love that kind of stuff. But I think you win worlds. Yeah, it's appropriate. You're the world champion. If you win Sheffield, that is, they say, the king and queen of powerlifting get crowned as Sheffield. And then you win world games. If it's head to head with Russ, I think you got to do it again. I think, you know what I mean? Like I think this is off the top of my head. How do you think people take it when you do stuff like that?
Like I think they probably think it's cocky, but I only do it in the moments where it's like it actually matters. Like at that point, whenever I did it the first time and I did the 825, I was just the number one ranked in the USAPL. So that's why I did it. I wasn't comparing myself to Taylor at the time because we were in 2 different federations. You couldn't compare them. At that point, I was just number one, so I did it then. I did it at I didn't do it at nationals. Or yes, I did it on the podium at USAPL nationals. I had finally broke that total. I broke the world record in the 75s or in the USAPL, so I did it then. And then I did it again at PLA Worlds. I mean, PLA Nats, because I had broken the 74 total and I had won national. So it's not like I'm doing it and I'm placing not even podium or something like that. At least I'm doing it. I feel like I'm doing it at the right moments. But I can definitely see to some people why it comes off as pretty cocky, but I'm not. Like I don't do it until after. It's not like I do it before the lights either. Like I do it at the right times. And I understand too, because I know a lot of people, I know you've talked about this on the podcast. People don't like when I used to say that I was going to be the best or say stuff before I competed, because it was just like when you haven't done it yet. But if I'm
I
gonna talk
like
about
that.
something, yeah, I like it too. I like when people do it because it brings the hype with it, and I just feel like I'm just gonna back my words up. I have nothing else to do. Like I'm not gonna say something and then not be able to back it up. If I say it, I'm 100% going to back it up. That's what I always kept saying out loud on any podcast or YouTube video or anything. I was like, I'm gonna try to squat 700. Like that's the biggest thing. I wouldn't have not let Joe put it on. Like I was gonna try to squat it no matter what.
This is where me and Taylor, and I think maybe me and Russ might have disagreed, but also agreed. Like I ended up talking Taylor into it, and I think Russ as well at one point. But so some people, I get what they're saying, where they're like they don't like talk if they haven't done it yet. I
Mm-hmm.
got you. However, that to me only applies if somebody's like 10th, 15th,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, my dude, settle down. You're not Jordan. You're not Kobe. You're not Ali. Stop. Like, stop talking like that if you're like way far back and you're like whatever, right? You got to be within striking distance. But honestly, those guys, it means something if someone calls their shot and then does it. It is so much more like, holy shit, he did it. I like Ali is the guy in all of. He was voted the number one sports icon in history of all sports by like Sports Illustrated took a poll on all the sports writers and sports historians, and they're like, it's got to be Ali. And Ali himself said, "I said I was the greatest before I even knew I was. I just said it over and over and over enough times." He's like, I remember clearly saying it, not even believing it, just thinking, throw it out there. Throw it out there, get noticed, throw your hat in the ring, see what happens. And then eventually I became the greatest. And when I said it, not a person in the room would raise their hand and debate me on that. And
Mm-hmm.
there's something about being bold and just shooting your shot and calling your shot. And I like that. And if everyone waits until after the fact, where's the bravery in that? Where's the
Exactly.
bravery in being like, I'll wait until after I total 800 or after I squat something, then I'll say something. No, it's brave. leading to a competition, hop on a podcast and be like, I think I'm going to win. I think I'm going to squat 700. I think I'm going to do this because this is how I honestly feel. I feel like I can. And
Mhm.
this is why I feel like I can. That's brave. And then you go ahead and do it and be like, there it is. I'm the guy.
And I think people don't realize is there's only two outcomes to it. Like it's either you do it or you don't do it. Like there is no like in between. Like
Yeah.
it's either you believe that you're gonna do it and you do it, or you believe that you're gonna do it and then you don't do it. But I mean, yeah, that's something that you already have to be prepared for if you're going to say that you're going to do it. That is something you just have to accept. You have to accept it. So that's like, and also I don't feel like I put too much pressure on me. I know that's a big thing too. It's like, oh, like he's putting a lot of pressure on himself saying he's going to do this. Where it's like, I haven't said I was going to win Sheffield yet. That's not hasn't came out of my mouth once. But do I think I can win Sheffield? Yeah, I do think I can. But I'm not going to say I'm going to do it though, because I don't know yet. Like, because it's not based off just of me at that point. At that point, it could be like someone else. It's not like it's weight class battle. Weight class battle is a little more easier. You could be like, oh, I'm going to win this because you know what someone else is going to do. But the world record might shorten up for me, and there's nothing I could do for it. And then
Yeah,
boom,
yeah, yeah.
there's nothing I can do about that. So it's like I'm just gonna give my all and try my best, but like I'm gonna go into it feeling like I can win it. And if I can't, I just don't win it. There's nothing else that like I can still get second. I'm gonna still get a bag. It's not hurting me any. I'm still gonna try to break the world records on the same things. Like win or lose, it's still a win for me at that point.
Here's people get worried also that if you say you're going to do something and you don't, it's going to be held against you. But what I've noticed, like Penna came in saying, I'm going to win Sheffield. And I mean, he came in fifth off podium. People love Penna. He always says he's going to win, though. Here's what it actually is. Because people are worried that, like, if I say I'm going to do it and I don't do it, will people rub it in my face? Yeah, there will be some people who rub in your face. Guess what? Those people were waiting to rub something in your face the entire time. They were going to
Exactly.
find something. They were going to find something. But you know what else? If you say, I'm going to do this, insert crazy achievement, do that 10 times in a row. If you only come up 3 times doing it, and actually that's a 30% success rate. That is a god awful success rate. But if those 10 things you said were like winning worlds, winning Sheffield, and they're crazy, all people are going to remember is the 3 times you fucking won and they can't believe it. Like Penna. Penna calls his shot every time. And when he wins, it's like, oh my God, he won. And Penna like throws it out there. And then he becomes massive to his supporters in France. He is, I mean, when he posts, he'll get like 20,000. He's got like Russ numbers.
Yeah.
And on the back, like it's crazy. People don't understand how big Penna is. And some people are big social media wise. So they post and they get the thousands and thousands and thousands of likes. But it doesn't translate into actually being able to, if they show up an event, people are going to show up. If they're on an event and the live stream's going to blow up, it doesn't translate. It's just social media doesn't, just like comedians, there are people who blow up on social media, they can't sell tickets. Or UFC, like Jake Paul, he blows up on social media. He struggles like hell to get people to buy pay-per-views. And I mean, he has god awful pay-per-view numbers. He has to fight somebody else with a big name. It's not like that. We know that now. Penna has social media. He shows up at an event, blows up. The social media views for the live stream blows up. And live gate, people showing up at the event, blows up. He's got all of that. Shoots his shot, creates the storyline, takes the narrative, and isn't afraid of failing, missing his goals. And people get too afraid of that, or like people rubbing my face. Who gives a shit? Call your shot, and it's special if you could do it. Or stay silent, and wait until after you've already done it. Everyone does that. Everyone does that. That's why Ali was the man.
You gotta figure out when to say it and what to say. Honestly, it's not that hard because I mean, to this point, it's gotten down to a point where you can figure out what's gonna get people talking, what's not gonna get people talking. Right. Especially with powerlifting, it's just like I knew everyone's gonna make a big deal about the judging from switch from USAPL to IPF, and I was just like, well, I'm just gonna live to the standard. I'm gonna do this, and I said, I'm gonna total 800 no matter where I'm at. Like. Yeah. That's just how it's going to be. And everyone's like, oh, well, I don't think so because, you know, like the judging's harder. This is harder. And it's like, well, I'm just going to keep saying that and then it'll happen. You bring someone up every once in a while, it'll happen. Like, oh, that was the thing that Kjell was like, it was kind of cocky. Whenever I said, imagine struggling to get 790 for
Oh yeah,
the
you've had some bangers now that I think about it. You have had some bangers, dog. Yeah. You have.
no, my
Or
fiance
like
is like my fiance is like, I'm gonna have to take your phone away. You over here, you're doing too much.
when you said I could hit that with my seconds and stuff like that. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. And Callie was rattled. The thing is, I am when it comes to competitors, I am never against sporting trash talking. You've never gone outside of sports ever. You
Hmm.
always hold yourself with, look, I'm a competitor, you're a competitor. You got what I want. You're in my crosshairs. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do the man dance at some point. It is what it is. But it's never strayed beyond that at any point, and I'm 100% okay with it. Some people aren't, and I don't know if it's I was gonna say if it's like because you had said earlier, our personalities, America, North America, if we have like because Canada's pretty much the same as well, not totally, but it is. But you know, I think about guys like Penna. I think about guys like they, like Leah will shoot her shot and be like, look, if this isn't going to be enough, I'm going to do this at Worlds. And like, I don't know. I think as a sport, I know what was super cocky to say 4 years ago now is almost par for the course. Like we've moved. We 4 years ago, it was like I remember Kjell and Taylor trash talking 2019. It was so small. Like I remember Kjell just saying, "You won Worlds when I wasn't there." Taylor brought that up in the last podcast, so it obviously stuck because like 4 or 5 years later, he's still thinking about it. I actually believe Taylor, whether Kjell was there or not, you still won Worlds. You were world champ. But all it needed was because you guys are athletes. All it needed was for Kjell to be like, I know I beat him the year before. I know he won the following year, but I wasn't there. I know somewhere in the back of his mind, he's got to be thinking about that. Why don't I just voice what I think he's thinking and
Hmm.
just let him think about it? And just let me just sprinkle this out there because we're going to clash. And let me just put a little bit of seed of doubt in there, if there's anything there. And Taylor, who's supremely confident, the fact that 5 years later, Taylor was like, I don't think I considered myself world champion when I won in 2018 because Shell wasn't there. Oh my God, it worked. Like you
Yep.
have to play these games. If there's just a possibility, people will be like, no, it doesn't work. Really? Because Taylor's about as mentally strong as they come. And he rose his hand and said, I don't know if I fully thought I was a world champ because I didn't beat Shell.
Yep.
It is, I don't know. I'm not
I mean,
against it.
'cause, I felt the same way at USAPL and that. So I was like, dang, like I did hit 850 and it was crazy. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But I didn't beat Taylor. And now it's just like the national championship doesn't mean as much. The total kind of still means something, but the national championship doesn't mean as much. But then at this last one, with me hitting 839 on 2 attempts, I was just like,
Seven
ah.
attempts.
Yeah, and 7 attempts. Sorry, 7 attempts. And no one,
Hey,
and no
you do it in 2 attempps. My God, man. You do it
one,
in 2 attempts, Playboy. Jesus will bend the knee.
but yeah, nobody was really just there to challenge me. So I mean, like I was just like that didn't even feel like it just felt like I was going in. I just wanted to hit 700. Like that was just the main point of that, just to hit 700 on squad and boost confidence, get a little like judge, like see how the IPF judging was, if it was going to be any different. It really wasn't any different, but no, yeah, I still understand where Taylor's coming from. Whenever someone's not there, that's won constantly, and
I
then
see. I don't think so, but like I swear to God, I still think Taylor was the world champ, and I swear to God, I still thought when you won with 858. Like I don't think that. I just know if a competitor throws that in there, I know it will breed that conversation.
mhm.
If you want to control narrative, it was very sneaky and smart by Shell to throw that out there against Taylor because he knew we're going to clash. What advantage do I have to put a seed of doubt? I'll just bring this up. And Shell's probably thinking, I wonder if he's already brought it up himself. And
Mhm.
what if you know what you're thinking in the back of your head? If I surmise what I think you might be doubting, but you don't vocalize it, and I vocalize it, what does that do? I wonder what
It's,
that does.
yeah, that puts a
It's
switch.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's
It was
smart.
so sneaky. It's so sneaky. Like, let me tell a quick story. I love this. So, George Foreman's fighting Michael Moore. Michael Moore is 26 years old, undefeated heavyweight champion of the world. George Foreman's 45 years old, way past his prime. But he's fighting for the title against Michael Moore. George Foreman knew I needed all the psychological advantage I could use. When they were doing the face-off in the promotions, there's press conferences, you go on tour promoting the fight. And in front of the media, George was America's dad. That's how he portrayed himself. He had all these sponsors because he's America's dad. He was fat. He was, with all due respect, love the guy, but he was fat, cuddly, and he seemed like America's dad. He was so soft and cuddly and nice. And America took him like that. He literally had a sitcom, by the way, and he was a dad. And he was like America's dad in a fucking sitcom the whole night, just laying the table for you. When they went face to face, close enough that there wasn't microphones in their face, and it was the media was taking pictures, no longer taking quotes, because in front of the media taking quotes, he was America's dad. He was funny, he was lovable. But when they was face to face, the microphones went down and they're just taking pictures. Michael Moore wore sunglasses. George Foreman, stone-faced, staring Michael Moore down, and they're toe-to-toe looking at each other. And just under his breath that just him and Michael Moore's coach, Teddy Atlas, could hear, he says, "Why are you wearing sunglasses?" Just said that. Nothing more. Nothing more. Wasn't offensive. Wasn't anything. Just, why are you wearing sunglasses? Because obviously, like, you're inside. There's no sun.
Mm-hmm.
You need to stare me down in my eyes. You're wearing sunglasses. I thought that's odd. Why are you wearing sunglasses? That's all he said. And it's a rhetorical question. He wasn't expecting Michael Moore to answer. He just said that, knowing Michael Moore's going to leave the stage and he's going to have to ask himself that question. Put a pin in that for a second. It's the same thing Kjell did, right? It's a rhetorical question, rhetorical things. Next city they do on the tour, they do another showdown, another face-off, sorry. And the media is taking pictures. This time, Michael Moore does not have his sunglasses on. They're face to face, and George Foreman smiles and says, "I see I made you take your sunglasses off." And that's all. That's all he said. And that meant, I know you were scared. I know there's something going on. And now I know for sure. And you just proved me right.
Plant that seed.
And Teddy Atlas, who was Michael Moore's coach, after that, I read his autobiography, which is lovely, by the way. Teddy Atlas said, once we left the stage, I looked at my guy to get a read on him, and I was like, fuck. And he was like, George Foreman, who's like the seasoned veteran, he's like, he's in his head. And he knew, like, I got to talk to Michael. I got to be like, man, fuck that guy, huh? Don't worry about that. But he knew he knew, he's like, oh man, this is all George Foreman needed was two sentences. And it's like, he's in your head, dog. Relax, relax, relax. But it's the little things people don't understand. When you guys, like top-end athletes, talk about pressure, talk about what it feels like with the entire community making judgments on like depth or whatever. When you're doing the mental games, if the battle is close, like say you and Russ is the only close battle I could think in my mind. Right now, you and Kjell probably a little too big of a spread. But if it's you and Russ, if there is a small little thing, all it takes is the other guy to, if you think, I think he's got doubt regarding this, you'd be surprised how a little mention here and there, just so small things add up. Russ actually talks about it. Russ has been on the podcast being like when him and Petrie were going, and they thought they might have a showdown. Russ talked about like depth, squat, bombing, whatever. But if you think this guy might be apprehensive in squats because he's nervous about getting them all in, and it might make him be conservative. And if you're conservative on squats, it pulls back your total a little bit. Why wouldn't I mention this to make you feel that, to make you a little more conservative, to make you, why wouldn't I?
Yep.
And Russ says, I will do stuff like that. And when they were possibly going to clash, he You bomb out, he's going to rub it in your face and be like, see, I told you. Your squats, this, that, and the other. And for a lot of people on the surface, they'd be like, wow, that's foul. But for competitors, like, no, man, this is what we do. You know, you try to mess each other up a little bit. But anyways, so have you gotten into this kind of psychological warfare, or what do you feel about the psychological warfare aspect?
Um, I mean, I think I definitely do think it's possible for it to happen, especially in powerlifting, because I mean that's doubt. There's so many things that you could doubt yourself with. Um, I don't know. I don't think I actually do it a little bit on sometimes whenever I do my captions and stuff like that. I'll refer it to some other things. I remember when me and Taylor would go back and forth on captions back in 2021.
Did you
I don't
guys? I
know.
can't remember. It's
Yeah,
been
it was
so
just
long.
like he posted something. He was like, "You're not it's not as close as you think."
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And then I remember posting something, and I was like, "It's a lot closer than you think." And it was just a little. It was like the two men running, trying to catch each other. It was just small stuff like that. But now I don't think I've really done anything. Because I mean, I really haven't had anyone that I just compete against and stuff like that. The biggest thing I think I can remember is the one saying that imagine struggling to get 790. That's probably like the biggest thing. Um, maybe like I have to slow down for you to catch up the progression thing. I think that's probably it. To just be like, I'm
I
still.
remember you two posting, "This is your king," and
Oh,
is the Black Panther tossing that dude around or
oh
whatever.
yeah. It's from Black Panther. Yeah.
But
It's where he's fighting for the
but
crown.
but on the you've had some moments. You
Yeah.
had some bangers. But to me, it's all just like promotion, hype, and it's all in sports. All you ever comment on are someone's sports performance. You
Yeah.
never attack the person. To me, if you're a high level athlete and when you're a high level athlete, if you want thousands and thousands of people to watch you perform, they have to be able to critique performance. There's going to, just as much as people are going to love you, people are going to, and if you're willing to accept people who've never met you in real life say they love you, and they don't actually love you because they don't really know you. But if you
Exactly.
can accept strangers say they love you, you have to accept strangers say they hate you. And neither one of them are real.
Mm-hmm.
This is what keeps you balanced. The guy who says, "Oh my God, I love Perk," you don't know me. You don't know me, so you don't love me. And the guy who says, "I hate Perk," you don't hate me, dude. You're in love with who you think I am. You're in love. You hate who you think I am, but you actually are not in my life. The people who matter are the people who actually know you for really real.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
always say this: there's no such thing as bad publicity. No, they're just gonna talk about you no matter what. If it's good or bad, they're still talking about you and they're spreading your name to someone else. Like, oh, did you see? Like, let's say like you do have that meet where you do mess up on and you don't do say what you're gonna do. It's like, oh, did you see? Did you see Perk's page? He didn't do as good as he said he was gonna do. And guess what? You're telling
yeah,
me the other person doesn't
good.
even know about me. Now they're looking me up and saying what I am, and they're like, oh, this guy's really strong. It's crazy how he didn't. And now that's just how it goes. So that's why I kind of like I like that people still compare the even if they say that I'm not close to Russ or I am close to Russ, they're still bringing my name up with Russ's name. Like that's just the thing. Like so now when someone talks about Russ, more than likely they're not going to talk about another 83. They're going to be like, well, I mean, they have this one kid that's super close to him that's a weight class below him. Like that's something they're going to
100%.
like. That's
It's
just
you,
it's just
dude.
what you put.
There is no 83. It's you, dog. You did 851 as a 75. No other 83 has done 850 and up besides you and Russ. Of course, it's you. You're within 10 kilos of Russ right now. That's a fact. And you are 75 kilos. That's a fact. And you want this, by the way. It's win-win for you. If you
Yep.
and Russ clash, you're the smaller man. If you lose, you're supposed to lose. You have nothing to lose. You have
Yep.
nothing to lose, Perk. It's the most stacked in your favor showdown you could ask. And if you win, not only do you win against a guy a weight class up, but he's a megastar in powerlifting. It is beautiful. It's perfect.
Mhm.
This is like if you could get a showdown for sure, it'd be Russ. And for Russ's side, he kind of sort of needs a guy. He hasn't had a guy since Brett because he's
Mhm.
so dominant. So unfortunately for Russ, he's in the anti-Penna situation where he can't buy a freaking showdown right now at this point. He's like, God damn, who do I have? I need somebody. You know what I mean? Like it's been
Mhm.
years. It's been years, and Brett ain't coming back. So he kind of sort of could use you as well. If the hype is around you and you're the king of all the powerlifting, it ain't a bad thing. but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what
It's just
happens.
it's just like like you said, the first Rocky or the first Creed. It's like even if I don't win, it's still like you still got pretty close to someone that's
Oh, it's
away from.
crazy.
Like it's just the real. There is no lose lose. It's a win win situation either way, and that's why I mean I'll take a win win situation anytime.
Oh, for sure. And both you guys are accomplished. Like Russ on Russ's side, no matter what, it's like Russ, you're an all-time great in the 83s. Like you've been the number one 83 since 2019. We're 2024 now. I
Mhm.
mean, Russ is all right. He doesn't have to worry about how does this affect my legacy. Dog, you're pretty secure. You're pretty freaking secure. But all you guys have done a lot. But yeah, it's I don't know, do we always seem to get into some sports psychology, huh? But
Yeah,
it's
I know.
it's
It's funny that you say that because now my the company I'm with coaching wants me to start doing more sports psychology
is
stuff.
that
So
right?
yeah, so just look forward to that. I don't know. I'm very very interested in sports psychology just because like I said, people might think I have the mindset of like I'm just the best and I have no doubts in that. But I've just now like probably after this meet, I'll probably start going into meets the most confident I've ever been in my 10 years of powerlifting. Literally, like that's just how it's gonna be.
Well, like if you weren't nervous, there isn't bravery.
Mhm.
First off, I mean, anyone could do something if you don't care because you're not nervous. But if you're nervous and you could pull it off, it means that's why it's good to have some rivals. It's good to have some skin in the game. It's a better story. It's more relatable for everybody. It's why the 84 plus is forever when Bonica was winning over and over with a massive spread. Or Amanda Lawrence right now. Everyone loved Amanda Lawrence versus Daniela Mello in 2019. It was amazing. You need these rivalries. You need something. Now, you're so far ahead to 74s, that's true, but Sheffield sets you up perfectly for that. Oh my God, can I win Sheffield? Kjell is now all of a sudden a rival who's mitigating your chances by doing what he's doing. It's
Mhm.
he's needed. Perfect. And then after that, World Games is a perfect follow-up. Oh my God, the mega clash. You have opportunity. You have them. And some people would shy away from those and go for the sure wins. And other times, you know what? You heard the podcast. Taylor said, if I could go back and change one thing, I think I might have jumped up to 83 at another time just to test myself like that, just to see. You only have so much of an athletic window. And when you're in the moment, it's difficult to be like, what challenges do I do that I look back and don't have regret? There'll always be something. And Taylor
Exactly.
said on the last podcast, maybe if I would have went up and I could be like, I saw that through.
Yep.
I checked all boxes, and he's like, fuck, looking back, it is what it is. He had a great career, but for you, you will check all boxes, my friend.
I have to. I have to check out the boxes. If I don't, I might not ever retire. I have to wait till I find strength back somehow.
And for a guy like Russ to be at the top, look, you can have anybody as an 83 champ, and it won't be as impactful as Russ.
Mhm. I got to get it now. Like literally, this is the best time to like we said, seize the moment. These are the times you have to seize the moment.
100%, because he's not going to be 83 forever. He's not going to be 83 forever.
It's like I said, we just have to hope that he stays at 83 for the for World Games. That's the biggest thing. If not, it looks like we're moving down to 66, maybe. No.
Oh shit! Yeah. I mean, you never know who ends up moving up and what happens in a couple years, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's all out there. Listen, my man, thank you for coming on. We crushed like it's what did we start at? Fucking, we're getting close to 3 hours.
9:30.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
that's
getting close.
like I'm
Three
happy.
hours, man.
This
It
is
is
good.
what
This
it
is
is.
good.
But we had
Good.
good discussion, man. We had good discussion. And we got to talk again. Obviously, I'm going to see you in Lithuania. Let's see how it all works out, man. This is very, very interesting times for the 74s, 83s, Sheffield, everything. There's so much still left to come. I'll see you in Lithuania, my man. We got to do a recap of Worlds. We might even talk before then. We'll see what
Yeah.
pops up.
Which I think we should do a podcast with the 74s if we can try to fit everyone in the
Dude,
around
that
the
would be
world.
phenomenal.
I think we
That
should
would
try. Like, I think get Shell. If we got to work around Tim's schedule, because I'm pretty sure Tim has the most crazy time change, right?
He's another day. He's literally a whole day difference. It's ridiculous. But I'm used to it because Rory's from New Zealand, but it is a pain in the ass. But I wonder if he's a powerlifting coach, he makes his own schedule. It becomes easier. But if someone has a day job, um, then it
Uh,
becomes they can't do it. But if we can grab a weekend, we'll figure it out. I think we got to revisit 4 of you guys at once, and we could, yeah, because you guys are all different except for you from 2019.
Mhm.
It was you're the last
Yeah.
man standing. Holy shit, Perk! I just realized that. From the 2019 4, you're the last man standing.
Yep. Yeah. We are talking about the 800 total.
Shit, man. Whoa, that just dawned on me. But Shell's back. But yeah, let's do it, man. I think that's a podcast. I agree. We'll sort it out, and that's what we'll do leading into to Worlds,
Yep.
and then we'll do a recap.
Let's do it. It was good
All right,
talking.
good talking to you, my man. As per usual, dog. Good luck in training. Stay healthy. I'll see you. I'll see you in a couple short, a couple short months. And for everybody listening, please do subscribe as per usual. Give us high ratings. And until next time, six pack Lapadat. 6 up. And we are out.